Boelter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf from
Nate Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam. You're watching NorbCam.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with a bonus Coach's Corner this week with my friend Coach Bill Marsh. I'm going to bring him on in a second, but I want to just start off by saying thank you to you guys for joining us for this. I'm really excited because this is going to be a lot of fun talking about an in-depth preview of the Washington football team. We've so far in Coach's Corner, we've done a review of the previous game, but in this game, we actually want to preview a little bit about what's going on, what to expect out of Washington. You know, a little bit more of the X's and O's on how good this Washington defense is, and what to expect. With now that we know who the quarterback of the Washington football team is going to be, we want to find out what can he do or what can he not do. I can't wait to get into this. I have no idea what Bill's got cooking. That's why I'm looking forward to it, just like you guys are, to find out a little more in deep on Coach's Corner. So before I bring Coach Bill on, I just want to remind everybody, if you would please do me that favor, smash that like button right there, hit the subscribe button and notification bell, and that way you'll be alerted every time a new video comes out, and it's a huge help for me on my channel. So here we go. We'll go without any further ado. There he is, Coach Bill Marsh. Welcome back,
there, Norb. Hey, excited to be doing this. I think we're about a month in, so a lot of fun things, and excited to do something a little different, right? Previewing a game that's less than 24 hours away, so it's more about getting excited versus coming into a film session where we're either really, really down about something or really, really high about something. It's just a different flavor tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. And again, I have not watched a lot of Washington football team football, being just not a team that we see very often. So I'm excited to see what you've got cooking, what we're going to learn today in Coach's Corner, to see a little bit more. So when we watch this game tomorrow, we'll kind of have some things to look for. And that's what I love about what you bring to this, because you have that coach's insight, a little bit more about the game, not just, who's supposed to be doing what on what play, but even the little things from footwork to things where some player down the field should have been doing something that he was or wasn't supposed to do that most of us would never catch in a usual film TV evaluation. So that's what I love about this show.
Yeah, and I think we said it all along. That was really the goal, right? We'll talk about the Seahawks and things that are going with regards to personnel and such. But really, it's also about educating people so they can just enjoy the game. That's my number one goal, is that people can come out of these shows learning a little bit more, and maybe being able to watch a game and go, man, I didn't know that this would take place, or I can start looking for that, or as we get ready for the playoffs, maybe this is the scheme we should be thinking about, or what have you. So I just know for myself, growing up, and then when I became an assistant coach and then a head coach, you just never stop learning. So for me, this is fun because I'm still seeing stuff and learning stuff, as a sponge learner of the game. So a coach of mine a long time ago once held up a football, and he said, this football represents everything there is to know about the game of football. And then he put a little dot and said, this dot represents everything you know. And this is back when I was in high school. And then he drew a pretty decent sized circle after 20 years of coaching for him and said, this is everything I know about the game, meaning him. But the football is everything there is to know about the game. And I feel that way now, even, 28 years of coaching, that there's still so much to learn, so much to know, and the game keeps evolving. So that's what makes this fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and for those of you who don't know, if you're new to the Coach's Corner, Coach Marsh and I go back to the 90s when he was a football coach at Eastside Catholic High School, and we were producing the highlight videos for their program. Did it for over 10 years, had not just doing some of the best football coverage, but we were doing some really creative stuff with sketches and music videos and comedy things. It was a whole film production with highlights to boot. So we go quite a few years back. So it's fun to be doing this again after being on a hiatus of like 13 years since the last time we worked together on those. So it's always a pleasure to be teaming up with you on this.
Yeah, and I think I've mentioned a couple of times, but the fun part back then was I would be, you'd mic me up, and there were times where I could, sense that we were going to run a play that was going to be going down the sideline, maybe towards you, and you were at the 20, and I'd, kind of be producing with you at the same time, say, Norb, this is coming down, go closer to the end zone. And then I think as time went on, you and your business partner, Mike, were able to start, you were learning our offense and knowing exactly what was coming. So you guys were able to start positioning yourself. So a sweet play that would be coming towards the sideline, you'd position yourself, and all of a sudden that running play was coming right at you. So, I mean, I think it allowed you to evolve. It allowed us to evolve. And then, over time, that's when we started creating, what I'd say I'd argue were the best highlight videos in the country, as was proven by college coaches and other high school coaches in America, calling me and asking me for clips of it and have we come out with a new video and things like that. So fun to be doing this together, where now you actually get to talk back to me and coach me up on certain things.
Yeah, at least from the technical standpoint. But when it comes to X's and O's, this is your wheelhouse, and I know you love to talk about it. So let's get into it. The Washington football team. This is where what I love about this is I get to just kick back and be a viewer and let you do all the work, man. So I hope you're ready to go to work.
Hey, man, it's not work for me. I mean, as you know, this is my passion. I tell people all the time, this is my golf. Right? I'll go hit the ball every once in a while, but for me, when I get to coach football up, talk about football, watch football, anything like that, this is my hobby. This is my love. This is my passion. And during a season where, we didn't get to coach, didn't get to, see my son play, all those other things, to be able to do this and give back to the game in a whole new different light is great. And the fact that we're starting with this week, I mean, you'll see in here in a minute why I'm so excited to do this one, because there's some, one player in particular I'm going to talk about, but definitely a team that's exciting, that's coming against us, and we're at this exciting part of the season. So, yeah, I'm real excited to get this one going tonight.
All right. Well, let's do it, man. It's your show, your corner. Coach, take it away.
All right. So the first plays might throw people off a little bit, because what's going to happen is I'm going to take you back to a certain Super Bowl back in 1986, where the New York Giants were facing the Denver Broncos. And the reason I'm taking you there is because I'm going to show you a specific player who was my favorite player of all time on the defensive side of the ball, regardless of off the field antics or what he went through, some of the demons that, came into his life. Lawrence Taylor was by far and away the greatest defensive player I've ever seen, even to this point. Now, I didn't get to see Dick Butkus and some of those players, so just relative to the times when I'm saying something like that, best player that I've seen or was able to watch. To the point that, I wanted to see him play live, when he came to town. I had an opportunity to do that. But what makes Lawrence Taylor special, what made him special, is that of the 57 times that there was an MVP, there have been 57 MVPs since the AP started doing it, only 3 times did a non-quarterback or running back win the MVP. One was Alan Page from Minnesota back in 71. Another one was Mortensen, the kicker, barefooted, or Mosley, Mark Mosley, the kicker for Washington back in 81. And then a guy by the name of Lawrence Taylor in 1986. He was just a freak. So what's going to happen here is you're going to see Lawrence Taylor sitting out here on the far outside. And obviously they had John Elway, a great player. But what I want you to watch is, as this play develops, you're going to see a forward pitch, as we've seen happen, kind of evolve in the game. The forward pitch is going to take place coming to the right. And what I just want you to watch is how Taylor, as he gets ready to make his play, instead of chasing up the field, he's going to make an angle that comes here, and then to here, and then just a violent collision. But it's how he plays with that reckless abandon, the angles that he takes, that's going to lead us into the next play. So I'm going to show you just in regular speed, live time, as we get set. Now I want you to notice that he stands up and he took a peek at everybody real quick. When everybody went down, notice how he's surveying the field, left to right. He's not just paying attention to what's in front of him, and that's crucial coming up. So he comes up, boom, right away he sees the play. He chases, and he probably takes 4 or 5 different angles. It is unbelievable the way he did this. So again, he surveyed the field. Forward pitch comes this way. Most players are going to come up and they're either going to kind of lackadaisically or take a little play off for a second, or maybe they'll come around the outside, or they'll get caught in the wash, as we say. It's a very common phrase you'll hear. If a guy gets caught in the wash, it means there's a lot of things going on internally, inside, in the interior. Well, what he does a great job of is he's willing to give up yardage. He knows this guy's going to make yardage. So put yourself in a position to make a play where this guy can't make it down the sideline, make a cutback. So he immediately becomes the cutback linebacker, which usually is one of these guys. They call it backside leverage. This linebacker would have backside leverage, meaning play goes away from you. Do not let this guy cut back across your face. Well, that becomes LT on this play. So we're going to play it again live time. And you'll see when I go, this is the last time I'll play it here. Comes around, comes to the outside, perfect angle. Yeah, the guy makes a great play. But as you'll see, and this is helmet to helmet, they probably would have called back then. But the way he played it is pretty off the charts. So I'm going to quickly go to the next play here. What you'll see is now we have in our all 22 position. Here's a guy by the name of Chase Young. And I said in our round table, this guy in 5 years, if he stays healthy, he will be the best defensive player I think we've seen since Lawrence Taylor. He'll be the MVP, because what you're going to see is same thing when we go to the end zone view. He comes up to the line of scrimmage and he surveys it a little bit. So as they come up, you can barely see it here, but he surveyed the field. Play's going to develop, go this direction, and what you're going to see is, again, that same look where he's going to go from here to here. I'm sorry, I took a little too far back there. Let's reset that. He's going to go right here and then keep going across, and when he gets to this spot right about here, just another great collision. Picture what you just saw with Lawrence Taylor on that last play. So here's what we get with Chase Young. You'll see it. Play develops. He's going to come up. He's caught in the wash. He could be done. Instead, hustle, boom. Now it's going to be great. And I'm going to let it play because I'll be able to coach it up even more when we get to the end. I love his energy, man. After the play, it's great. Now here's what I love when we get to this spot right here. Here he is, right on the backside, and you can see when he gets ready. He's looking. So these guys are down. What we just saw that took place 24, 25 years ago. This was Lawrence Taylor. 3 guys were down. Taylor was standing up, caught in the wash. Chase Young goes a little bit upfield because of the little different play they're doing. But then you'll see it again here, right? He gets stuck up in this area, and then he takes the angle back here, takes the angle across, and then catches him right about the 2-yard line and makes a great hit. Just a great hit. So this is more just about sheer athletic ability. And then we'll get into some of the things that the Redskins are doing. But I absolutely just love how he makes this play. So again, gets here and right here. He talking about getting caught in the wash. They're running a little stunt loop around here. He's basically getting double teamed. I know this guy's paying attention to him. And what you start to see is right there. Look at the leg drive. It is unbelievable. What I'm going to be coaching up over the next little bit here is these players on defense. They get in such strong fundamental positions constantly. And I spoke about how it takes a while for a team to pick up the personality of their head coach or their coordinator. But in this position, it's their head coach, former Super Bowl champion, loves defense, has a personality around him. They've overcome a bunch of things. So he's talking about adversity. He's talking about teams that don't respect us. Look at this guy right here. Look at that position. That's a guy who's in a great stance, thunder thighs in effect. He heads on a swivel. He's looking for anything that's coming inside to take it away. His eyes are looking this direction to see if there's any sort of slant coming. Same thing here. It is fantastic, right? You got this guy checking the same thing, taking away slants. Now, most teams will place someone right here in the middle, but there's no need to do that because they don't sense that Burrow's going to escape inside here. So as we let this play develop, back to Chase Young, he just did a spin move. So it's just to show all the stuff that he does. Here he comes. Now, look at the perfect angle. He knows he's giving up yardage. He was all the way up near the 10-yard line. He gathers himself back to the 5 because he knows that's the point that he's going to get. So similar to when we talked about, cross-field, not cross-field blocking point, pursuit over the top with a corner on the backside, sweep goes away. Pursuit over the top is when a corner turns to the 1-yard line far field to be the last line of defense. Well, he all of a sudden becomes that corner. Quarterback's going away. His last line of defense is start at an angle to get to the 1-yard line until you realize you have the angle now on the guy that you're trying to tackle. So now he has the angle. And I'm not going to over-telestrate things, so just know that's not my style. I'll just do a couple of illustrations, but you can get the point. This guy comes up from back of the end zone attacks the outside shoulder, which is exactly what he needs to do because he's forcing it back inside. If he were to attack inside shoulder, Burrow's just going to make a move and go out here. But because it's attacking outside shoulder allows Young to make the great angle, great hit, caused the fumble, and there's a bunch of goofy stuff on safety, and the guy came out, but everything else. Just an unbelievable play.
And that fumble, that was recovered by Washington, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it ended up being recovered by Washington, but what happened was it was recovered by Washington in the end zone. Then he took it out of the end zone. So then it was a safety because it was right back to the 20. When you look at the play script, so when you look at it, if you go on any of the Game Pass or anything else, they'll tell you what happens each play, right? Here's the play, 10-yard pass. This one is 3 sentences long. I've never seen one because it's
so much happened in that one play.
Run by Burrow, fumble caused by Young, taken in the end zone, out of bounds, fumble, ref determines it's a touchback safety. It was pretty classic.
That's a lot that happens in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, a lot that
3
happens.
seconds.
So I'm going to immediately go to the next play, and then we'll kind of come back because I'm just showing a couple of things that this young man, Chase Young, does. But it's also going to start, leading us into what the defense does as a whole. So what we have here's Young up here on the outside, and what you're going to get is, just some fantastic effort that I call 3E effort. And 3E effort is where you hustle to the point of attack, then you do what your assignment is, and then something happens afterwards that just gives you that third level effort. So I'm going to let the play run for the first time just so you can see it. And most of you may have seen it on the highlight situation where, again, people who are just watching probably had their eyes immediately go to the quarterback to see what happened and then came back and saw the scoop and score. Even just now knowing that what we're trying to watch here is Chase Young. So we'll take it back here again to the spot. Chase Young is up here. He starts right here in this spot, okay? So he's starting right here, and then what's going to happen is he's going to end up all the way over into this spot over here, and then he's going to come back to this spot, and the key is how quickly he does the scoop and score. And I tell you what, when people are taught to get on the ball, a lot of times it's by position or by athlete. As a coach, we would tell guys on an individual basis, if you see a ball on the ground, you drop down and go into we called it the fetal position, where you tuck the ball into your stomach, curl your knees up, because we don't want you to try to pick it up because your hands are so bad that you're going to end up just giving it right back to the offense. And we don't say it that way. We would say it with a really nice gesture, and you're a great player, but let's just get the ball.
Right.
Then there's guys like this. Yeah, let's just get the ball, man. Just fall on it. Everybody else protect him so it doesn't scoop out. And then you got guys like this that you don't coach him up on this type of stuff. You let him be an athlete when he can be an athlete. And they got probably 4 guys on their defense. Defensive linemen, unless it's right there and you get a nice bounce up, you want those guys to fall on it. Let's just get the ball. Watch how quickly he picks this ball up. And I'll sometimes go old school with things just because I like to kind of pay homage to history. Roger Craig, 49ers, high knees. So those of you remember the San Francisco 49ers of the 80s with Rice and Montana and those guys. Roger Craig used to run with the super high knees because it made it hard for guys to tackle. And running backs started changing their running style because of that, because they, defensive players didn't want knees in the chest. Well, watch what happens here, and it's fantastic what Chase Young does. And again, do your best to just keep your eyes here on Chase. He took a step. He was going to run a stunt. Now he's over here. Now he just scooped it away from this guy, who went to go dive on the ball, and now he's running back there to get it. So let's take it back here again, and so we're going to slow it down a little bit. So as you can see, he's gonna loop this way first. He takes a step. He's gonna loop here, but now there's trouble. So he's gonna find another gap, and now he's been taken out here. So look how far he is away from the ball. Most players are kind of done here. Okay, what he does is he sees the ball. Now look at this. He's a scoop and score guy. He realizes the ball's there, and he's not going to try to scoop it, but he's at least going to get on it. Look how quickly he gets down on that ball and is able to scoop that thing up. That's mine. And then he's gone.
Yeah, he actually had to take it away from this guy. He had his own teammate who was trying to grab it, so he got it on it before he did.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So, and this is why I love the end zone view. And I'll say it till the end of time when we do this. The first time we get to the end zone play, when you get a chance to watch and learn, always use an end zone view if you get a chance. And if you're a coach, youth team or anything else, have someone film from the end zone, because it is the best way to learn how to play, because now you're seeing the view of what the players see. And so, oftentimes as coaches or even as fans, we see things from the side and we can't see the depth, the gaps, all those type of things, what the distance is. When you can see it from here, this is where you can really appreciate how things work. So I'm going to let it play full so you can just see it in full action first time. Again, there it is, and it's mine. And then he was never taught how to tuck it away. He's just going to hold it with those big claws. Just hold it with the big claws, but what's great about it is, let me get it right back to the spot. As you see it unfold in slow motion, what's happening, you get this great blitz, and then second here, I'm going to be talking about the rest of the linebackers. What they're doing now compared to what they were doing the first few weeks, it is night and day difference, because now they are the ones where they say the low man wins. Their backs are arched, their legs are driving, and they are coming full force. When they're blitzing, they're coming after it. It's been a while since I've seen a defense play with this type of aggression, because something's lit a fire under them the last few weeks, and that's why they're on the roll that they are on. But as you can see, they're just going after it. They're just get after it. I love seeing this right here. Bodies just flying around, getting after it, and then here he comes. Scooped it right out of his hands.
Stole it out of his teammates' hands.
But here's what I also loved, and I don't know if you remember, Norb, back in 2001, we had a 5'7" outside linebacker who did a scoop and score in a game that meant everything to us. It put us up 7-0 in the first quarter. Unfortunately, we lost the game in overtime, but it was 7-0 till there was about a minute to go, and then they scored on a crazy play. And I'm okay admitting that obviously I wasn't perfect as a coach. We did lose that game. But the best thing about that play, and why I've used that play at clinics, was not so much the fact that the little guy scored. That's a great part of the story, but it's what his teammates did that showed how much his teammates respected his hustle and what a leader he was to everybody else. Because what you see here is this guy hustling, this guy hustling, this guy hustling. Even guys that are behind the play who know not to block, they're going to get down there in case there's an opportunity, or what if he drops the ball, right? So it's not just about seeing him. Look at this guy. Look at this guy right here. This is just fantastic. Getting his helmet in front just enough, because guys aren't looking at who the personnel is of the guy they're about to block rarely when they're this close going this fast. These guys can size him up like, okay, he's a D lineman, he's an offensive lineman, I'll just wall him off, get in his way. But not here. And the fact that he was able to get his helmet in front, even though he's behind him, most guys would say, hey, let's not do that. At the same time, man, you're teaching your defense to be aggressive, get after it. We already have the ball. Man, let's go ahead and make something happen. So I love the fact that he's doing that and making things happen. So again, slowed
him down just enough that he can't chase him down from behind.
Can't chase him down. Now look at this, 94, who was originally looking at getting to 60, he now no longer has to get there as 94 is getting there. He's going so fast that he bypasses 60. Next guy in the train. So that's football IQ. He realizes this guy no longer has the angle on who has the ball.
Yeah, 71's the last chance to get an angle on him.
Yeah. Now, I love to always credit the other guy, right? If you're just looking to learn, again, remember that go to the 1 yard line, pursuit over the top. 71 became a defensive player the moment they got the ball. The moment they received the football, he became a defensive player. And he realized every team runs this as a drill in August at every level. Have one guy, literally, this is it. I know you guys have actually seen it when you guys came out in film practice. Half your team's cut up and one guy sprints down the sideline and the other guy's at the 20-yard line at the other end of the field on the hash mark, and they run at a 45-degree angle to the 1 yard line, and you try to see who can get there first. And if the defensive player can get there first, they cross their face. The offensive player is trying to score. So he's hustling, but he's taking a good hit. But look at 94. Again, all he did was get his helmet in the right position, right? Helmet in the right position, boom. Great job. And now 90's in front of him. Done. Man, it just a convoy. Sometimes I wish our offense could block that well, right? Just making things happen.
I should tell you, Bill, as you're doing this, the Telestrator is working great, by the way. New addition to the program. I don't see your mouse over the plays, though. So when you're referring to things, I actually can't see that. So I just, as you're moving forward for the next few plays, for whatever reason, we don't actually see the mouse pointing things out. So
yeah, and you know what? I had a mouse turn off, and so I will get that turned back on.
We'll work on that.
We take phone calls or something. get that turned on.
But it's looking great, though. Yeah, I love the Telestrator edition. So
I'll dot in. I'll make the little dots on the Telestrator.
I should remind everybody who's watching that we will take calls from people. If you are on the Discord, just join the VC over there on stream, game day stream, and then we already got some people waiting. But if you want to join on the conversation, just go to the Discord. The link to join is in the description. So that's the way to get on here if you want to talk to Coach Marsh and ask
and
me
we will
questions.
we're going to focus on defense. So typically what I like to do is run some plays on one side of the ball, and then we'll run some plays on the other side. So today I'm starting with Washington's defense, just because that's their lead in. Every team has one side of the ball that's kind of their lead in. I think we're actually trying to kind of discover what it is. Are we doing are the Seahawks offensive lead in, or defense? Where we're at right now. I think we're actually special teams is our lead in. Because of how well special teams is playing. But we'll go defense, and then we'll take calls, and then we'll go to some what they're doing on offense. I think is going to happen, especially based on some news that's come out this week as well.
All right. So we got Jeremy G in the Super Chat. Says, Buffalo Bills clinched the AFC East division for the first time since 1995. So we saw it coming, but it's official with their win earlier today. And yes, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills. Taking one from the Patriots finally after years of domination. I'm sure it must feel good for them.
Finally, to let that happen.
Yeah,
we've needed that to happen for a long time.
Yeah,
I think everybody's pretty excited about that. So,
all right,
good stuff. All right,
so
ready for the next one?
Ready.
All right. So here's what we have. We're going to start off with a little focus on Young again. The first three plays, just because I want there to be an appreciation for what this young man's doing. I mean, as a rookie, to come in and start dominating the way he's been doing the last few weeks, it is propelling their entire defense. This defense is going as Chase Young goes. And it's one of those things where, sometimes we wish, I wish that guy wasn't playing this week. Like I'm excited to watch him play. I want to see him play, and I think it's going to make us better because he's going to challenge our offensive line, which is a group that, needs to be challenged as we go. So if you remember what I talked about the very first play when I brought up Lawrence Taylor, and I spoke about him surveying the field. I'm just going to play it live time here for a second. And what I want you to watch is just watch Chase Young's head. When these guys are all getting down in terms of this whole crew right here, these guys are getting down into their area. Watch how he stands up and he's looking left and right for just a little bit longer. The guy's got an IQ that is just different. He's just a different dude. Okay, so regular speed.
He's at the top,
looking around. Now he goes down. See, he's trying to determine based on what he just saw back here. This is the pre-snap. This is what makes all pro guys from just another guy that's playing in the NFL, which again, they're all phenomenal guys.
Guess what?
But the fact that he's looking,
super chat.
do I, I heard someone talking to us.
It's just my speaker telling me that there's a super chat. Alina's just mentioning they cannot hear me in Discord apparently. So I'll work on that technicality while you continue to break the play down.
No problem. So again, what we see here is he's yet to determine whether he's going to go inside leg up, outside leg up. Am I going to stand up? Am I going 3-point? Which tells me that Coach Rivera has already given him some flexibility as a young player to say, you know what, we're going to give you the scheme, and you have to go to either place A or place B or place A, B, or C, not in terms of gaps, but in terms of where to go. And a reminder, when we're talking gaps, what we're talking about is this would be A, this would be C, this would be D. And then from the left side, this would be A, B, C. And then if there's a tight end, if this was the tight end, there'd be D out here. And if this was a tight end, there'd be D out here. So if you ever hear someone say he rushed the A gap or he rushed the B gap, rushed the D gap, they usually won't say he rushed the right side A gap or the right side B gap. What they're typically saying is the gap to the side he was on. So if this player right here, boom, let me get him here on this. If this player right here, if someone said he was rushing the B gap, that would mean here's the A gap here. That would mean he came through this gap. So anytime you hear that it's just telling you, people start to hear it and get a sense of, oh, B gap, that's between the guard and the tackle. Oh, he came through the A gap, something else. And you hear it with linebackers. So it's kind of a nice quick coaching point here because this team does do a lot of stunning and a lot of blitzing. You might hear this week, boy, the linebacker came up and it looked like he was going through the A gap. So as he's kind of creeping up here, looks like he was going through the A gap here, but instead he came out through the B gap. because maybe this guy came through the A gap first. And they'll say, oh gosh, like B gap, running back should have picked him up in the B gap, or running back should have taken the C gap, or what have you. So typically that's what you say. So when you hear me talking letters, that's what I'm talking about. But back to Chase Young, what I'm saying for him is that Coach Rivera is saying you have 3 different responsibilities on a play. And he's saying for you, you're going to have possibility A, possibility B, possibility C, and you have the choice of how you want to line up to do that. And I mean, you hardly ever do that. Usually guys get into a stance, and that's the stance for their career. This guy's such a freak of nature. He's kind of like, he's their Jamal Adams, right? Jamal Adams plays safety, linebacker. Sometimes he's linebacker up on the end line of the line of scrimmage. Same thing here. So what you see is he comes up, he's going to survey the field, looking at it. And man, there is nothing more frustrating for a quarterback than to have no clue what a stud is doing over there. Because when he just took the peek to the left first time, he's standing up. Now he just took a peek back and he's down. But here's what happens on the play. Now he drops out, and then last second comes up and crushes him.
Wow.
So I'm going to play it again. And this is what I want everybody to see and appreciate. I mean, we're going to play at regular speed, uncut. Just watch how he barely even takes a step. Most guys will take a drive step up before they drop into their zone blitz. He's just going to drop, and his job is not to come and play this quarterback. He's not really even spying him. He's just dropping back into a coverage area. But all of a sudden, something gets into his motor, and he decides, I'm going to come after him. And when you'll see from the end zone view, most guys when they run, and I'm going to bring it up to the bigger size here, most guys when they're running, they're going to run in a straight line, and then they're going to turn, run this direction, turn, run this direction. When we get to end zone views, watch his legs, and you'll see that he literally on every step is taking different angles. So his body will go 20 degrees this way, back to 30 degrees here, 15 degrees, back to 5 degrees, and then boom, he makes the tackle. So he's got this lateral running style because his thighs are so strong. He's taking, he's got great running mechanics, and he just wants to get a sense. So where guys usually will take 1 or 2 angle breaks, he's doing, and you'll see it here even from the side view, which is rare. When he comes forward, you can see him change and go kind of left, right, left. Boom, boom, boom. He's kind of out and out. And this will be the last time I'll play it from here. So as we slowly start to play it.
Oh, you got to bring the game view
sorry,
back up.
My bad.
There
As
you
you
go.
start to play it, what you're going to see is he's just going to take his steps, and then what's going to happen is he's going to be right here, and then you're going to see him take a left hard jab step, and then a jab step back here, and then just crush him. And it's amazing how quickly he does that, but it keeps a quarterback in check, and it gives him settled leverage, meaning you don't want to come up so fast that you get the Olay tackle. And if you've been watching for a few weeks, you've heard me say that, where guys go flying so fast. And you usually see it on punt returns, where the flyers come down really fast, flying down really fast, and then boom, they miss the guy, and return guy takes it up the field. So here we go. Let's just watch it in slow-mo. Watch him take the hard jab left step as we go with it. And left step. So I'll take it back so you can see it. We'll slow it down just as he starts to come. So again, watch him take the hard left jab step, which just puts him in position to just crush him. He takes it right at about the 40-yard line. There it is. And left step. And now his hands are just straight up in the air and nowhere to go, and just smothers him.
Now, is that jab step, was that to kind of throw the lineman off, a little bit of a juke there to get the lineman to sort of move one way and then basically give him an opening to go around him?
It's more from a standpoint of making the quarterback freeze, whoever you're going to tackle freeze. So usually, though, what's crazy, Norb, is that guys will take that jab step when they're going sideways. So let's say back to that Burrow play. Quarterback scrambling, quarterback comes out this direction, and now all of a sudden he sees it and he starts to run, but he has to determine, is this quarterback going to cut back one direction? Is he going to go the other direction? So what's going to happen is he ends up taking these kind of jabby steps till he figures out where he's going. And then whichever direction the quarterback goes, if it's a cutback, boom, he's gone there. If it's going out here, he's gone there. Now I'm starting to feel like John Madden because I got too many lines on there. But what happens is he does it over here coming up the field, which is just rare to see. He'll come up here, and then it's a jab step. I'm sorry, he does it the other direction. So he's here, and then he does a hard left jab step, which you'll see the quarterback kind of settle, and then it's just smother time. So here we go. Let's just watch it. So we're playing regular speed. So you're going to see him right about 40-yard line, his left foot. He's just going to drive out left, come and smother, and you'll see the quarterback just sit there. There he goes, and settle, boom. And see it force the quarterback to have nowhere to go by doing that. And I know it's hard to see two things at the same time here. But I'll play just a couple times for you where he drops back, comes up, lateral step, and what you'll see is the quarterback doesn't know where to go because he doesn't know which way Chase Young is going. He doesn't know if Chase Young is coming inside or going outside because that lateral step settles him a little bit at the line of scrimmage. So if you watch the quarterback's feet, right here is there is the lateral step. So what is the quarterback about to do? Quarterback has to take the same lateral step because he doesn't know where to go. He can't go forward with a foot either direction. Should I pretend I'm throwing? Get ready to throw, and look at that. Hands in the face. I'd be dropping down too. Scared to death.
And the way he exploded out of his stance when he was just looking like he was going to drop back in coverage, he kind of reminded me a little bit of like a big Earl Thomas, the way he just took off. Because Earl Thomas had this
absolutely.
kind of wild running, everything sort of flying around, and the way he took off just reminded me of that, except the really big
analogy.
version.
Great analogy. So I'm going to play it one last time at full speed because I think you're going to enjoy watching this week as long as we're playing well, as long as we're winning the game. But just peeking at him because in the game, color commentators don't have enough time to really break down what a guy's doing, or they might not see what he's doing and how much disruption he causes even when he's not part of the play. But as he drops out here, full speed again. Now, even here, which I wanted to point out, he's going to even take a little peek to this side. I mean, he's trying to figure out what is everybody doing on the 49ers offense. You'll see him at the very last second take a little peek there. Actually, I got to get back a little bit further. Just watch it. He's peeking to the right. Now he's back inside. Now he's just kind of checking things, and then boom, accelerate, smother. Done deal. So it is very impressive. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one.
Yeah, Chase Young, man, that guy's got a high motor. Definitely got to keep an eye on him.
Well, yeah, and this is one that Chase Young's going to make the play, but I want you to see. This is a great footage of what a team really looks like when they're getting into this umbrella. When you hear me talk umbrella, few teams in the NFL play it kind of this traditional way, and I think it's a Rivera style. And why I said that, I hope that we make him have to coach offensive ball in the fourth quarter, because that means that we're in a good position. Because defensively, I mean, the guys are sound. Your personalities use your linebackers. Like they used to say, certain teams were linebacker U. If there was a linebacker U in the NFL, meaning linebacker university, give it another year, it's going to be these guys because of the way they play. And then add this kind of hybrid linebacker in terms of this group that's right here. Those guys and this guy are going to be your hybrid. All of them are kind of becoming hybrid guys. So we let the play run, and what you're going to see is Chase Young down here at the bottom of the screen. He's just going to do his thing. He's going to chase it down. And what's different compared to what we talked about this last week, where we were saying guys should come down the line of scrimmage, but any running play away, they should kind of settle their feet. And I don't know, Norbert, if you remember what we talked about in terms of what they should be looking for when a play is going away from them. Things coming back like reverses, counters, those things. Chase Young is so dang fast that you don't have time to run a counter against him. So here it is at regular speed, what he does, just so we can see the play. Boom. He's just so fast. He hits so hard.
Oh, my gosh. Jeez.
Just coming down the field. This is why he was the best player in college football, a year earlier. Think if he'd have been a senior in college. And I know great guys aren't playing senior ball anymore, but go back to the 80s, 90s, early 2000s when guys did, he'd still be one of the best college football players around. But what happens here, as we start appreciating the rest of their players, is the hard upfield rush. As soon as this player right here, as soon as we get this hard upfield rush, what's going to happen is he recognizes that he's beat this guy, and it's actually not going to be him. He's going to come down. We're going to get a little walled off block. Watch this guy do the Roger Craig high knees. I mean, the excitement these guys get when they can sense the football's coming their direction. I haven't seen it for quite some time. So we know Chase Young's chasing from the backside, so we can stay away from Chase for a little bit here. But what I want you to see is right here, as he comes up, this tackle's going to go around. He's going to try to cave him down, but he's so strong Number 90. Now all of a sudden, look at that high knee drive. Because he wants to force this guy to cut it up. Because he knows he's got backside pursuit. Linebackers are coming. He doesn't know that Chase Young's going to be there. But man, oh man, the fact that he's able to make that type of a play, regular speed, let's just watch him here. Hard up the field, high knees, boom, cuts it back. And look what they would have had no matter, even if Chase Young wasn't there. Okay. The pursuit from the backside lineman. This is why this interior 7 is becoming very well known. And again, in a year after they've been in Rivera's true off season with all the not this stuff that went on this off season. Watch the 2 interior defensive linemen. These 2 guys right here as they come off. You're going to see them coming, and then they threw off their linemen. So even if Chase doesn't get the ball, look at the guys that are here. He's getting through, he's through, and he's through. He's got the backside leverage. If something came, nothing could come across his face. So even though he's getting blocked off, it doesn't matter because you got guys filling here, and then you still have the umbrella. I mean, that's awesome defense. I would take that right there and show it to a high school and say, this is how you play a sweep that's going away from you. It's fantastic.
Now, on the flip side to this play, if you could back it up a little bit to the start of the play.
Yeah.
So, a little bit further. So, let it run slow-mo here.
Okay.
So now, so right here, stop for a second. So this is he's the quarterback, Mullins is doing a fake, like he's going to throw to this receiver coming to the flat over here, but you can see everybody's committing hard to the running back. And I guess I'm looking at that thinking, well, with such an aggressive guy, he's attacking, Chase Young is attacking so hard down the line. Can that be used against him later that if he's going to come that hard, there's nobody where my head is right now on the outside here. This is kind of wide open, right? Where theoretically, if you could use that aggressiveness against them to run something that could then take advantage of the fact that everybody's moving so hard, towards the flow of the ball.
Yeah, and typically, they talk about how in baseball, when a rookie comes up and he's just having a great first part of the year, and they say, wait till teams get a second go around at him, and all of a sudden that guy who's batting, 407, he's about to break the all-time batting average record. Now all of a sudden he's striking out a lot because teams figure him out. Chase Young is still going to be just a heck of an athlete, but people are going to start to figure out, what are his weaknesses? Does he over pursue? What is he doing? But again, the way that they play their scheme, again, the umbrella is just sitting there. And we used to face a team, as you remember, Norb, I won't name the team, but for years they were our arch rivals. Struggled beating them. They were all about defense. They were kind of linebacker you at the high school level. And what would happen was we would tell our players, and we get into our Sunday night coaches meeting, and coach would say, what if we run motions and do this? And we call them commercials. Like, let's do stuff to get them to think we're doing something else. Before the snap, we could see if they're running man-to-man. My guys, they're going to get in their 4-4 cover 3. They're going to sit there in their linebacker stance. And if you shift, they're just going to look this way and look this way and stay in their position. Well, same thing happens here. As you can see, when the play gets run, they know what their identity is becoming. So remember I talked about that umbrella? This guy's just sitting here. He's not chasing it down too hard. He's not chasing it down very hard. He's not chasing it down very hard. They're the guys that are kind of they've taken over for Chase Young as the take care of the reverses. Don't let any halfback passes beat us deep. So 29 just sits out here. He sees this is coming. So he's sitting on it, even though he's a little ways away. He's sitting, right. He sees that's happening. And the piece that came to me as soon as you said that, Norb, was, remember years ago, and when we would run the read option, right? We'd run that read option with Russ, and he was getting yardage, and we had beast mode back there. So it was, hey, you got to take beast mode, or you have to take this young up and coming quarterback in his rookie year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, and then all of a sudden, coordinators start changing. We start doing things a little bit different. And now the read option is not so much part of our offense. It's a part of the look of our offense. But I wouldn't say we really run the read option. We run the handoff, fake the option, never really have Russ keep it. And now teams, and I mentioned this 2 weeks ago, teams don't respect our read option anymore. They see Carson get the ball, and they're going to go for it, or they know it's going to be some sort of a bootleg off of that play fake. But what we don't do anymore, and I wish we did, especially on those third and shorts, instead of trying to stuff it up in there when we get stuff sometimes. Run it up in there, we get stuff. Spread it out, get into the 2x2 on either side. Let's run the read option, but let Russ keep it because guys are not respecting it. So I agree with you from a standpoint of they should throw it, but they know that San Francisco probably for weeks has done the same thing with the old, you tell your little third grade quarterback, get back there, hand it off, and then turn around and fake like you threw it. Well, if you don't really ever throw it, what good does that fake do for you, right?
Right.
So if they did it, yeah, absolutely. So if we see it from the end zone view, same thing. And you'll see like the quarterback fake at the end. But what I appreciate here is as these guys are getting down and ready, again, I just love, right here. And I know you love things that are synchronized, Norb, with your music background, all the talents you have, in that genre of stuff. Watch the linebackers. Watch how they get into their stance. The middle two linebackers. And boom. See that little hop step there?
Yeah.
UTEP two-step. Now they're settled. And people used to say all the time, well, guys have to be level with their eyes. And it used to be for years. You would try to coach, have all the linebackers' eyes at the same level. So when a quarterback came under center, he saw the middle linebacker with snot coming out of his nose. He looked to the right, saw that guy with the big, bloodshot eyes over here, this linebacker over here, growling with the black eye black coming down like this. Now they teach, get them squatting. Get them down in a nice stance so they're not falling off the cliff, because what happens is guys would stand up too tall and now they're leaning forward a little bit and such. So now you get this number 53 who's squatted down. And I'm going to show you a couple hits here in a second where they get in their position, get ready to make their play right there. I just love that there's just that synchronized shift that takes place. It is fantastic because what you're seeing, the reason why you're getting that is they're having to balance out. So right now they're set to this defense that has multiple guys over here, more guys on the left than they do the right. But then as the play starts to develop pre-snap, they recognize we have to shift. But in the shift, the play takes place. And immediately they read run because we talk about reading hats. Now, 49ers are doing a pretty good job in terms of as they're trying to evolve with players that have been hurt and stuff. That's a pretty synchronized line, which tells you how well this defensive line is playing, because that offensive line that's kind of a clinic on how to get out of your stance, how to move synchronized to the right, all of them, boom, they're all moving, same arm, power steps, feet are going. But again, we have the drive up the field from this guy up through there. These guys are pushing hard. We know it's coming back here. Linebackers are going to be flowing. And so what you get is your secondary doesn't have to do much. And now they make the play and they get the ball. So that's a lot of what they're doing on that from that standpoint. Just the same little fake that we saw there. So I'm gonna leave it on that spot for that right there.
Yeah, just a lot of penetration. Chase Young aside, before he even got there, the other guy was already right in the running back's face. So
yeah,
it's not just one player.
It's unbelievable. And I have two more defensive plays left that I haven't talked so much about scheme, but I'm looking a little bit more personnel here because I want us to have a respect for who we're playing. I've been seeing a lot in the comments, the chats, all those other things where hey, we're going to take care of them, and if they were beat by Arizona and by San Francisco by so many points, what you can't use is the transitive property of inequality or transitive property of equality, meaning A equals B, B equals C, therefore A equals C. People love to do that in sports, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because this team beat that team, and that team beat that team. Well, therefore, we should be able to beat that team. Man, it doesn't work that way, right? Because you're not taking into account personnel. Or as a coach of mine,
the matchups.
Yeah, a coach of mine used to say all the time, you can't take the X's and O's and make them true until you put them in with the Johnnies and the Joes. Meaning, once you put the players in those X's and O's, it all looks great on the board, and it looks like we should be able to beat a team and what have you. It doesn't work that way necessarily. You got to put the Johnnies and Joes in there, and some guys Johnnies at quarterback are better than other guys Joes at quarterback. So, all right. So here what we're going to get is one heck of a hit. And again, this is about respecting the team that we're going to play and having an appreciation for it. The good side is when we talk about their offense, I think we're going to feel a little bit better on some things as we go. So this is about scaring you, Norb.
Switch to the play here. Yeah, I want to see this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So what we're going to get here is I'm going to let the play run so you can just see it, and then you'll kind of see where it comes from. Boom.
Oh.
Okay. So again, these are we call these one of two things, Norb. We used to call them a woo tackle, WOOH. Like, man, like how many woo tackles can you get tonight? Because we didn't put stickers on our helmets, and our players knew that a woo tackle was you want to hear that crowd woo, right? The other one we used to say was, how many snot bubble tackles you're going to get, meaning you hit the guy and you're going to help him up, but as you're helping him up, is there a snot bubble there because you hit him so hard? And again, it's not about playing mean. It's not about playing outside of the lines of the rules. It's just you want to teach your players to play aggressive. I look at these guys and I wonder, how many times have we seen hits like this year for our team? Where sitting in our seats, or you with Ku Romo would be like, "Ooh, man, like ooh, like that was a great hit by somebody." We used to see it all the time with a guy by the name of Cam Chancellor, right? So as we see this,
one of my favorites because of that, because of the woo tackle.
Man.
Yep.
Well, one of his best hits was against the 49ers down that sideline years ago.
Yep, Vernon Davis. He was never the same after that. he
wasn't.
He was seeing ghosts from that point on whenever Cam Chancellor was out there somewhere.
And Norb, I don't think you or I would be the same if we got hit by Cam Chancellor. So here's what I love about this play as it's developing with specifically with the player that makes the hit, but also the way they line up. So now it's a little different than before, right? So before we saw, 3 down linemen, Chase Young. So they had kind of this look right here, but now they've got added additional 5th guy there, which means now they have just the 2 linebackers playing here. I'm not going to get into 4-3s and 5-2s and why is things. We'll have a separate episode to kind of discuss the differences there. But here's 53. 53's lined up here, but as soon as he realizes pass, he knows he has the responsibility to pick up a certain player, which I'll get to in a second. But what I love about the play is most guys, when they go to make a hit or when they go to find someone to, who's about to catch the ball, they'll go either straight up or an inside out angle. Well, he's so fast that he's going to end up getting outside leverage to the player so that he can accelerate back into the player's ribs, which is one of the ways that you tackle it in a healthy standpoint. So you're kind of going from that mid rib down to the eyes to the thighs, as they say, with the new rugby tackle that it's not so new. They've been doing it for about 8 years. That the Seahawks brought out of rugby. So here it is again. We're going to get it set to the spot where he's about to make the play. Right away, he recognizes pass. Norb, rhetorical question, unless you know it. How does he know right away that it's pass in the first blip of a second?
Whatever the offensive line is doing.
Bingo. Okay, right away. Okay, linebackers always first thought is to run. They have run responsibility. But right away, he sees that all these hats just went straight up in the air. So they know it's pass. Unless it's a screen, right? But for the most part, he knows it's pass. So and because they're man-to-man, this guy right here is picking up his guy. Boom, he's there. He's here right there. And so he's got to pick up the third man out. And he already has outside leverage on it, meaning from the point that the play is started, he's making sure that if you were to draw a straight line down the field, which I think we're pretty close, he's already got outside leverage because he's right here outside the hash and this guy's inside that. So he wants to maintain that outside leverage. So as we let the play develop, my bad. We let the play develop. He maintains that outside leverage. You can see he's still out there, right? He's still got that 1 yard outside leverage piece. And the fact that his head's already looking back to the quarterback tells him one of 2 things is going to happen. And it can only be 2. Number 1 is ball's about to come to him right there. Right now. Boom, 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 boom. There's the pass. And there's a reason why I'm putting the Captain Obvious dots here. Because the only other thing that can happen is quarterback pump fakes. And now he goes here.
And then down the field. Yeah. The old double
Which
move.
is why you teach every corner and every linebacker from the day they start playing football that you cover receivers that are running out routes. Any receiver, running back, tight end, anybody who's running to the outside, you come up and you attack their outside shoulder. So if by chance you were to bite on that pump fake, that guy is going to turn up into you and it's a collision. Fine. We get the 10-yard penalty if the official wants to, fine. But what we're not going to do is go inside on him, track from the inside, and this guy's pump fake. Now he's up down the field, and now we're chasing him. Right. So now we're in good leverage position. So he knows that with this guy looking back, he's got, linebacker's got all the position in the world to play aggressively, because if he turns up the field, he knows he's just going to upchuck him anyway, and he's on the line of scrimmage, so he can take care of him. But look at the down and distance. You can see up top, right? You can see right up here. Here's the official. There's the marker. All they have to do is get a couple of yards, so they run a route, which is common. I know people get frustrated, like, why didn't they send him 3 yards down the field on 3rd and 2? Well, sometimes you trust your player, if he catches the ball, is going to beat the guy. Not against this guy, right? So as we run the play, we continue to play going, outside leverage, boom. And I mean, when you see guys have that arch in their body, he woke up the next day pretty sore.
Yeah, especially when he's got his arms stretched out like that, trying to reach the ball, and then gets hit when he's exposed. That's got to not feel too good.
And Norb, you know me, and I'll get to the end zone view, because the end zone view is obviously just as great, but it's always nice to see kind of the quasi-television view we're going to see. I love the fact that, as much as Rivera is just this kind of calm, stoic guy, seems, his presence is his demeanor's great. I know that when he's in those conference meetings, because I know someone who actually coached with him, he would say, man, when Rivera gets going, he gets fired up, he gets these guys going. He tells them, look, when we make a great play, we are all celebrating as one. So some guy makes a great play, it's a great play, but all of us get excited. So as I let this play develop, don't watch the guy make the hit anymore. Just watch some of these guys in here after the hit and tell me if they're okay with it, if they're jazzed about it. 91, 99, they're pumped up. I mean, and you'll see it later too. Guys are pumping their fists, jumping around. Something I hadn't seen from the Seahawks till the last 2 weeks. So let's jump to the end zone view of this. Okay, as we go through it, let me back it up just a tad there. Again, here he is, 53. And this is a great, because on the sideline view, you would think that the linebacker was kind of more right here and barely leveraged up out of him. He actually has this much leverage space to play with on this. So we let this play run. He maintains that outside leverage, and what's great about it is his footwork. What you'll notice is he has to take those leverage steps to make it work as well, in terms of those lateral type of steps that, again, just some serious athletes on this side of the ball. Watch him get out of the way of traffic, and you always teach guys an under-over move, meaning he knows that this guy right here has to take care of this player, meaning he's driving him and he wants to stay underneath. So 53 has to stay over the top of him. He doesn't want to become like a rub or a pick guy.
Right.
And that's what happens all the time. If you don't know how to play this, right, all of a sudden this guy comes down here, gets the pick on a play that's definitely designated to the guy out of the backfield. Now 53's caught in the wash, basically. But instead, he does a great job with his feet of staying out of the way of traffic, back and forth, back and forth. He maneuvers between there because there's space. So you can see he's got space in a lane. So he went over the top of this piece and in between this piece to maintain the leverage on this piece. And by doing such, he puts himself in that great position again, and he sees the snap of the helmet. And you teach guys when they run the out route, snap your helmet back in case it's a pump fake or not a pump fake. You're ready. The ball's already in the air, which it was going to be. And now he's in that perfect position to make the play. So just a fantastic job of a guy making some things happen. And that's happening because they're getting so much pressure on the quarterback. They're playing that umbrella defense on the backside. So it's put them in a fantastic situation to be able to do the things that they're doing. So
when you see something like
deep play, go ahead.
Yeah. So when you see something like this, does this tell you that this is good coaching or good athleticism, or is it both?
So there's a saying, it's kind of both, but there's a saying of, on offense, get the ball to your best player and do it as often as you can. And on defense, it's get the guys in the right spots. Get your best players in the right spots, right? Well, sometimes it takes a little while to maneuver your scheme, get guys, your D-line, your linebackers, your DBs, but you're always adjusting the scheme a little bit until you find that right fit. And I feel like the last few weeks, they have really discovered how to use Chase Young, how to use those middle linebackers, how to use that front seven, playing a little bit more press coverage. And now all of a sudden, great athletes are becoming super athletes in terms of Chase, and above average athletes are becoming excellent athletes because you're putting them in great positions. And when you do that, guys get a hit like that, that confidence carries the rest of the game. And I mean, in any sport, right? You hit the big 3-pointer, you hit a home run, you do something early in a game or a big play, that just gets you going. And it's contagious. Enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. And when you get enthusiasm breeding enthusiasm, and you got a coach who's just, who's already overcome certain things in terms of his own health, he overcame the stuff with Washington having to change their name, and he's running the whole ship because the boss has said, I'm just going to let you take over control of this thing because I haven't been able to figure out how to get it right in 2 decades. And now all of a sudden you get this happening. It's definitely a product of great players being put in a position by who I think is a great coach. I think he's a really, really good coach who knows how to motivate. And again, it's taken him till now to figure it out. But I would say that this is a top 3 defense in the league. They're not in. I mean, they're already sitting there near in the top 10, but they're coming along.
I think total defense. I think they're top 4 and top 5 at number 4. So
yeah, yep, they're
definitely
moving right up in there.
Yeah, scary, man.
Right
So are we still? You got another defensive play?
Last play.
Okay.
Yep, last play on defense. A little quick because again, I don't want to get too caught up in the scheme part this week. I just want to say we're more in kind of respect our opponent this week, which I would do every once in a while. Certain teams that we kind of knew, hey, we faced this team so many times. Let's really look at what are they bringing personality wise this year that maybe they weren't bringing the last time or earlier in the season. Let's be ready for those type of things. So what's going to happen is I'm going to just let you see the play, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you.
All right, but bring the play up.
At. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Let me get it on. All right. So and the reason why I do this, Norb, is I like people to see the play as they might see it in the game to see if they picked up on what I'm about to coach or what have you. So it's kind of nice to have a kind of a fresh slate in your mind, watch the play, and then I'll come back to it versus telestrating right off the get-go and you don't really know what you should have not seen
right
from the beginning, right? So we'll just watch the play. Okay, nice smothering of the defense back there. So we're going to take it back to the beginning. Actually, this one we're going to watch from the end zone view because we're getting away from Chase Young on this one. Let me get to. I'm sorry, my bad. Norb, this one was just on the front side, so I'm going sideline view. So what we get here is again from the top power rush, and this is where we've talked about with our team, Norb. The idea of waiting till the last second to blitz, or not looking like we're going to blitz and then blitzing, or coming up to the line of scrimmage, looking like we're blitzing and then coming out. I'm only showing you 7 to 10 total plays each week. They're going to show a bunch of plays, so it's impossible for me to show all the different looks and all the different disguises and all those things, but this is what Washington is going to do. They're going to give us this look or a non-look, whereas you can see the linebackers are sitting back here right now, right? And then they've got their front 4 doing their thing, but as they start to get ready, just pre-snap, trying to kind of confuse the quarterback, now all of a sudden it doesn't look like anything's happening, and what you had just before the snap was this linebacker right here. He's just kind of walking, and it looks like he's about to pick up this guy as he's going in motion, and then he stunts for a second, and then he comes after it. Oh, my bad. So here we go. As we get the play going, he settles. So right here, quarterback would take a peek and go, okay, he's just looks like it might be a quasi-man defense, or maybe they got a man with a man under. But then just as the quarterback started to look away, so and I apologize, I don't have the end zone one for this one. This quarterback from the end zone view just before the snap, he starts looking this direction, and that's exactly when this guy time's starting to come. Okay, now it doesn't necessarily mean that this guy's going to make the sack, but it causes chaos. And that's what you're trying to do as a defense. How do we cause chaos out there and get a quarterback, inexperienced quarterback, guys that maybe new in the backfield to have to do something they haven't done before. So now all of a sudden he's coming up. They do a pretty good job of picking it up, but it's an extra guy that's coming after him. And what I like is, again, we talk about hats and where do the hats need to be. This guy is actually, his helmet's lower than his guy. Helmet is lower than the double team. Helmet is lower. And the drive that these guys are getting up the field is very, very impressive. And what you have on the back, in the back here, is again, look at the safety, how deep the safety is. I mean, he's almost 20 yards from where the quarterback is, because what they're doing is they're saying, we're going to let our front 7 or front 8 beat everything up front. 5 yards and in, all runs, all short passes. We're going to let them take care of it. You're just not going to beat us deep. You're not going to let Metcalf run deep on us. You're not going to let Lockett run deep. We're not going to let Rulson scramble all over the place. We're going to come after you hard and make you prove that you can throw a nice deep ball. And we're going to come up to the football, which we've talked about all the time. Best thing you can do as a defense is have your defensive backs in a position where they drop back to 25 yards, and they teach us the NFL level, all levels down. The moment a quarterback gets to what would be a 5-step drop, even if you converted it from a shotgun or a play action, DB should be 20 to 25 yards back. So then when the ball's thrown, they can either, free safety can break on a good angle sideline to sideline. DBs can come up on a football, on a house route or an inside route or a pass across the middle. So I just love the way they're playing this scheme. So back to our front group here. As they start to come up, you can see right here, great job of just caving them. And this is what I wanted you to see. Okay, most people saw a sack that happens. I want you to see how this guy takes on the lead block. And Norb, I don't know if you remember, you may not. We had Norb used to do, and his partner used to do these great top 10 plays of the year. And this isn't about pubbing us. This is about pubbing the NorbCam and all the great stuff he was doing way before YouTube was being, was YouTube. He would do these top 10s. And one year we had a player, sophomore, who he came off the edge so hard. And you always tell a linebacker, if you have to take on a fullback, you tackle the tailback through the fullback. Just like linebackers that come up through the A gap and the B gap, you always tell them, if a lineman comes at you, you do not run around him. And the reason you don't run around him is because you create a cutback lane. So you have to hold your ground. So linemen come at you, come after him. When this guy gets out to here and then does his little step and then comes after it, I'm going to play at regular speed. I just want you to watch him and this fullback who is looking at him, because he knows, you can tell right now, he's eyeballing right here because he knows he's got to pick him up. So just watch this one-on-one matchup. Outside linebacker, he's coming. Here comes the fullback.
Boom.
Nope. No good. As my old high school used to say, no good. No good, man. I mean, that is no good.
He blew him up.
Oh, man, just absolutely blown. And I know people that are probably watching go, that's a woo. Like, woo. But people don't see that, right? They see quarterbacks make great plays. When I saw this, I went woo because it's just in my blood. I mean, I couldn't believe you just don't see this very often anymore. I mean, these guys are all playing like Lawrence Taylor. Right? It's unbelievable. Now, they're going to play more like the Chicago Bears of the 85 because, that was Rivera's team. So it's just so neat to see this, how hard they're playing and coming after it. And here he comes and just boom. And now they're teaching throw the hands up, which is another great thing because you teach hands in the passing lane. So just the fact that he was able to get hands in the passing lane is putting the quarterback in spots. I mean, just a great, great play. And that time, he does make it. But if the quarterback had scrambled, they have him contained. And this is where I see us, again, as the last play before we take some calls here. How might they defend Russ? Well, again, I think they're going to just come after us and say, look, you're not going to beat us with the running game. You're going to have to throw so quick that Metcalf can't get down the field, to make sure that we're coming so hard on the edges that you can't go outside. So you can see this outside defensive end right here. He's coming up, but he's not driving at the quarterback. He's actually more going up the field to make sure that there's no escape.
Can't escape out.
Situation. Yeah. And I think what if I was to guess, I would say that this week that they're going to respect Russ's scrambling ability. But if they look a couple weeks back to what the Giants did, I mean, we didn't cover it very much during that coach's corner, but the Giants, they were literally, when they would rush even just 3 guys, they would come up the field and the guy would turn sideways, which you just never see. And this guy over here, defensive end would come up and he just turned, they'd stop. They'd just turn sideways and make sure that Russ couldn't drop back and scramble one way or the other way. They would just sit right back there. because sometimes as a quarterback, you can't tell exactly how hard guys are coming. And then Russ would get rid of it sooner than he had to, because that was after they'd already made some great plays with some great rushes. So just some really neat stuff. And as you can tell back here, even if this quarterback's going to throw it, and at this point in the game, the 49ers have gone into a pretty strong max protection situation.
Yeah, they only got two guys. They only got two guys out there
in the route. So 2 guys in the quarterback leaves you 8 guys to protect. I mean, we would do that in games. We would, put in a third running back or an extra tight end and say, look, we're going to max pro and, just run a 1-man or 2-man route. Well, again, with their umbrella covers that they have back here, doesn't take a brain scientist to see that they've got this bracketed pretty well here.
Yeah, they've got 2 on 6.
They got him covered over here. Yeah, right there with my special circle. Right. So it's just crazy what they have going on with this. So. And if
that's where we're at, man. And that's where if the running back,
we're glitching.
Ooh, look at that, we're doing some art, some modern art right there.
Crazy times.
But yeah, and that's why I think having a running back who can actually pass protect is so important, because in that case, if he picks up that guy and walls him off, maybe he has time enough for somebody to get open downfield. But that's a pretty scary hit right there. Hey, quick update.
And that is what.
Quick update. There's a football game going on at the same time. I always manage to put our coaches' corners against primetime games, apparently. But
because you want more people to watch Madden. I keep bringing it up. You want more people watching you play Madden than watch me break down film, right? No problem.
Oh man. Well, this game is not exactly the one that is so compelling that they might want to come back and watch over here, because the Packers blowing out the Panthers 21-3 right now. Late in the first half. Obviously we would love to see the Panthers put up a fight and maybe knock the Packers down a rung, but right now Packers well in control of this game. So, all right. So you want to go take some calls?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So while we're at this halfway point before we switch to the other side of the ball on the analysis, we'll take a couple of calls from the Discord. I think we've got our audio problems worked out, hopefully. So let's see what we got here, and we'll go to RG Pack-A-Lot. Let's see if this works. RG Pack-A-Lot, are you there?
Yo, what's up, Norb? How you doing?
Hey, not much, man. Doing all right. Here with Coach Marsh, and you're on with Coach's Corner. What's your question for Coach Marsh, man? And what's your name and where are you from?
My name's Ricky, and I'm from Tennessee. I'm from the Memphis area.
Okay, from Tennessee. So I didn't catch your name.
I didn't catch the name, but I love that he's from Tennessee.
Yes, sir. My name is Ricky.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So what's your question?
My question is, I'm really excited that we got Rashad Penny activated off the roster today, and I want to know, Coach Marsh, how we should utilize Rashad Penny and Chris Carson.
Oh man,
no, I might need to translate. I didn't catch that.
Your audio's breaking out pretty good. I heard you say something excited. I think about Rashad Penny coming back, but sorry, your sound is just really garbled. Let's try that one more time and see if we can interpret. Try to condense your question. If we don't pick it up,
maybe you can put it in the comment or something.
Yeah.
How should we use Rashad Penny with him coming back for tomorrow's game?
Okay, so I think the question is, how should we use Rashad Penny if he is indeed coming back to be active on Sunday? Good question. Haven't seen him all season. It's a brand new toy.
Yes, exactly. So I would use him by running Carson a heck of a lot more. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's a standpoint of, when you have multiple guys that can come back and give you different looks. I like player by committee. When you hear that phrase, play, 3 wide receivers in a spot by committee, 3 running backs in a spot by committee, or what have you, because I do think that it puts pressure on a defense to have to do different things. So I'd like to see him, if he's healthy, get to 10 to 12 reps where he's coming out of the backfield, where they're running him on certain things. Maybe he's the guy that is able to do the screens that we haven't been able to do, right? So let's put him in a position where that they don't know what's coming from him when he comes into the game. Similar like what we used to do when Seneca Wallace was playing quarterback, and all of a sudden we used him in a few different spots, just to use his athletic ability. He does have athletic ability, even though some people aren't a big fan of his. I think having him out there does give us a nice little different look. So I would find those 10 to 12 plays, but look, I don't want to do it at the expense of what we're trying to do with the other players and keeping their momentum going, because sometimes you get excited that a player is coming back or a new player has joined the team, but there's always subtraction by addition, right? So where are you going to make yourself weak by doing something of strength somewhere else? So if we utilize him, let's make sure that we're making sure we're absolutely utilizing him in the best way possible, which you hope that's the job of a coach, is to do that. But to just put him out there and not utilize him at all, or waste his time, that doesn't do us any good. So they know what his best strengths are. So let's play to him.
Yep. Good point. I'm excited to see what he can bring. It's been so long, but I remember with Rashad Penny, he does have speed around the corner that Carson or Hyde doesn't necessarily have as much of, from what I remember of his big runs last year.
Yeah,
so,
but the toughest thing, people always get concerned about conditioning, and so I never worry about that. To me, the thing is the first 3 to 5 times a player gets hit when they come back. When they first come back, and especially we just saw the way some of these guys are hitting. Hanging on to the rock, because you're already excited about coming back, so the nerves are going there, and you want to prove to the coaches that you're ready, and you're doing that. And sometimes you forget the most basic fundamental piece of being a running back, which is hang on to the rock, right? Use those 5 points, those fingertips, the forearm, the elbow, the ribs protecting it, and then get that other double protecting anytime you get inside of traffic. So I really hope that he makes sure that ball security, which I know is, everybody's key to the game, is always win the turnover battle. Well, let's make sure we don't give away something again, because we're so anxious and we're so excited that he gives up the rock. So not worried about his conditioning, because they're not going to overutilize him, but just want to make sure that, let's get him that first play, a good confidence builder play, not 3rd and 1 where we need a big play and then he gets stuffed. Put him in on 1st down, 2nd and short, do the things that do well for him, let him get into it a little bit so he has that confidence.
Yeah. All right, let's go to our next call. This Yeet Man 101. What's your name and where are you from?
Hello.
Hi. You are on with Coach Marsh, NorbCam. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Colby. I am from Lago Vista, Texas.
From Texas.
Is that Colby?
Yes,
Colby?
sir.
All right, Colby from
Here,
Texas.
Lubbock, Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic.
All right, so what's your question?
Texas forever, man. Texas
All right.
forever.
So, Coach, if we win tomorrow, do you think everything can go in our favor in the playoff picture situation?
Ooh. So I'm the kind of the eternal optimist, even though I picked against our guys and then had a penalty when I was doing the round table and changed things, but I always think big picture. I think we have a golden chance if everything's going right for us to win the whole thing this year, based on everything I see with every other team. If we win tomorrow, because our guys know that we're going up against a great defense. I struggle to think we're going to go against a better defense the remainder of the way. So it means our offense is going to have a great confidence. It'd be a great win on the road. It means that we're putting ourselves in position to be the number 1 seed. And if we capture that number 1 seed, as Norb will attest, we get the number 1 seed. We have a pretty good record of where we seem to go after the NFC Championship game. And it's not in our car to go, spend the next couple of weeks at home doing nothing, right? We do a pretty good job of finishing that game and going somewhere big, which this time would be down in the south to the far east, right? So I think, yes, to answer your question, if we win tomorrow, I think we put ourselves in a golden position of having great confidence coming off of the last 2 weeks, and running the table and just making some great things happen.
Yeah, we were doing some breakdowns of the playoff scenarios, and man, it's tough. It's going to take us having to win out, and the Saints and the Packers having to lose one down the line for us to even have a shot at that number 1. So I was hoping that the Panthers game tonight. Yeah, that's what makes it fun. Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire.
Weeks left. Of course, it's great if we nail down the number 1 already and stuff. At the same time, I never like a team that floats into the playoffs because they've already clinched it 3 weeks ahead of time, and now it's kind of like what are you really playing for and such. So the fact that with a few games to go, there's a lot of teams that are battling, and even if it's just those 7 teams or maybe an 8th team, the fact that you could go from number 1 down to number 7 or number 1 to number 5, or as the weeks get closer to the end, I love that stuff in the final week where you're waiting for the 10 o'clock games to end, and by 1 o'clock maybe maybe you don't know, and then you got to wait for the last of a few games, or maybe it's a Sunday night game, or what have you. So I love that when it comes down to that type of stuff.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get one more phone call here before we get to the next set of plays. So this is. See, it says Seahawks for life. I think you were on the show earlier when I was live. Seahawks for life. You there? Seahawks for life. You're on. Anybody on the other end? Hello? No Seahawks for life? All right, Seahawks for life might be in the bathroom. All right, let's grab one. Let's see if we get one more before we go on here. Night Fury. I like the name. Night Fury. You're on. Oh, Night Fury disappeared. Okay. Well, that might be it. Let's see. Let's try one more time with Seahawks for life. Seahawks for life, are you still there? Nope. All right. Well, I guess this is our sign to let's go to the next set of plays here and see what you got cooking. So this is now analyzing the offensive side of the Washington football team. Yeah,
we're going to see the offensive side now. Here's the thing, Norb. When I've watched them over the last couple of weeks, I try to kind of get us a couple of weeks in advance. Even though this is the first time we've done a preview, I always like to look, no matter who the Seahawks are playing, to see a couple of weeks down the road. What are they doing? What type of things are they maybe change up? What I love right now, in terms of what I'm going to see, is an offense that I wish we were running with Russ. And what I did was I actually pulled most of the stuff based off of just scheme, but it ended up being Haskins was the personnel person I pulled out from. Still at the point not knowing who was going to be quarterback. So now I think we have a good idea that he is going to be the one who's playing. So these are plays that are all with Haskins as the quarterback, but it's more about the way they run these plays and how the personality of the offense changes because he's in there. With Alex Smith, I spoke about the other day, he's a boring quarterback, boring from a standpoint of it's the perfect fit for their team. Keep it simple, low percentage. He's only thrown for 4 touchdowns in the 7 games. Now you get Haskins, you get a guy who can run, you do lots of things. So what we have here is we have a multiple receiver set. He's going to send a guy in motion. I'm just going to play the play again so we can see it. This is early in the season when this took place. Okay, and we'll run it one more time just because it's a quick hitting play, and then I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Now, this to me is the greatest pass play that a team can run, even though they're not in a short yardage situation. If you have a quarterback that has a strong arm and you got receivers that snap their head and snap their hands, as we call it, circle up. So you snap the head, snap the hands, and they know how to find space. So what you have here is they get into a 5 receiver, or what I call a star position. So I try to keep it pretty simple. So star to me is 5 points of a star, 5 receivers out there on a 3x2. So 3 on the right side and 2 on the left. But what you're going to have is you're going to have all those receivers are going to come to a spot where literally they're going to get here and across here, and they're going to be in a position where pick a spot, turn around at 5 yards roughly. And quarterback's going to find you right away based on how he reads the defense. So as we let the play move along, what you're going to see is receivers that start to do their thing. They're all going to go at different angles. So right off the ball, it's not 5 guys running straight ahead, or the hitch route as we call it, right? So they're not going 5 yards and just turning around in a straight, linear line, meaning every receiver isn't just coming off and going straight up, turning, and then turning around. They're all going at different angles. And what it does, it creates space all across the field. And the difference between what Haskins does and what their offensive scheme is and what we do with our quarterback, with Russ, is he takes a good 1-step drop out of the gun in their short passing game. So what I want you to look at first is when he gets the ball in the shotgun, watch his footwork here. Notice the nice big depth step right there, DEPTH, depth step, and then he gathers himself. At this point, he knows exactly who he's going to throw it to because he can tell. But any one of these guys, if he wanted to, he could throw it, and you teach receivers at 5 yards on a hit, that ball's halfway in the air. So you turn, get those hands ready, ball's coming. Well, the fact that he takes that extra depth step allows the receivers to get into that route a little deeper. What we do in our offense is Russ will typically get the ball, and then he just flips his feet, which is, again, some coaches teach one way, some coaches teach the other. It's based on your quarterback and based on how quickly you're trying to get routes in and out. We do more kind of slant routes and such. But here, because he runs that, takes that depth step, now go ahead and just watch the receivers a little bit. This inside slot here at the bottom, you can see he's the inside receiver. He immediately goes out. Then he's going to find a spot in here. We're going to get a spot in there. He takes an inside angle because the key is you're trying to find the hole in the defense. You're just trying to find a hole. We played a team once. They were the number one team in the state, and we went into 5 receivers all game long and battled with them all the way through the game. And we told our quarterback, get the ball and throw it right away. And we told all 5 receivers, run at any angle you need to 5 yards and turn around. That gets you into an open spot. So they take this off and you start to watch it develop. We freeze it. You can see a level across the field there. Right there, we have it in their spot. He's turning, he's running out. He's right there in a big pocket here. He's in a big pocket here. He's entered a pocket here. And quarterback can tell, he doesn't need to look for the short guy that's basically running a clear out. This guy that's down at the bottom, he was the one that originally was in the slot, and he's running the out route to clear it out. So now you got 4 guys against 3 back there, plus their umbrella safeties that are taking place. So there's really not a wrong place that he can go in this route. And I love that they do that, and I love that they're doing it inside the 15-yard line. Again, stuff that I wish that other teams would do and that we would do. Run screens down inside the 20-yard line. Run this type of a passing game inside. Teams feel like they have to all of a sudden squash things up when you don't have to. Again, it's not a huge game, but it's a confidence builder for a quarterback that's got a tall, strong arm and is able to, have good pocket presence. Is he a world beater yet? No, he's not. And he's been hurt and, hasn't been the greatest, but I think he's another one. He's going to gain confidence with his quarterback, with his coach. And I'm sure Alex Smith has been, working with him because he's a great guy, great leader. So here we go again from this end zone view as we see it go. You can see the slot guy took off to the right, 82, and it's a great view from here because all you're telling your guy, again, is find that pocket in the spot. Make these linebackers or nickel defensive guys or even a dime defense because they've got, and just so we understand what I'm saying there, nickel just means you've brought in an extra defensive back. You've taken up a defensive lineman, you bring in an extra defensive back, now you're in a nickel. A dime is when you bring in 2 extra defensive backs. So you've taken out a D-line and a linebacker, or possibly two defensive line, which is rare. But you're bringing in extra defensive backs, and so you can tell when it's a nickel or dime based on these numbers, right? So you're usually not going to have a linebacker who's wearing a 2 as a first number. And this guy you can tell by body type, right? So they got a lot of defensive backs in there based on they saw 5 receivers come into the game. But so what does Haskins see? Only thing I'd be saying if I was coaching him is, hey, how about we don't look at him the entire time? So
that's what I was going to say. It looked like he had his eye on him the entire time.
Absolutely.
Like he wasn't going to throw it to anybody else. Maybe 82 if he was covered up, but he was looking him the whole way.
College. Sorry, no, go ahead. What did you say the last part there?
No, it just looked like he was staring him down the whole way. From the moment he got the ball, he was looking to the left, never looked any other direction.
And it's something about, I think just humans in general when they play quarterback, that some guys just seem to never be able to break themselves from that. Their athletic ability is great enough to get them through the college ranks, and then they get to the NFL, and there's usually that's something that you wonder, guys, how could a guy be such a stud in college, and then he's just, what is it that he's missing? Because he's got the tools, he's got the the body and the arm and the smarts and those other things, and then you go, what is it? And then you go, oh, okay, this is obviously one of them, because man, oh man, okay, Bobby Wagner, you see his helmet turning. Let's go ahead and start running that direction. Let's take a chance. Okay, Adams, you see it. Other guys, you see it. But look at the pocket range here in terms of look at the space, right? We talk about it with the running game. When you have those big lanes in the middle, you have this type of space. You'd like to believe your quarterback can complete that type of pass. This is why I wish teams would do this down in the near the end zone, inside the 20, because usually you can get this type of a look. So just a nice play design that gets them easy yardage, and it's really not even so much of a design as it is just get yourself open to make the play. So this is the play right after it. And this is why I left it in there as the next play, just to see how they complement one play to the next play with a guy like Haskins, and the fact that they're a little bit more open, they're running more motion. Usually with Alex Smith in there, they're a little bit more running game, keep it simple, high percentage. With him, they're going to let him take a chance because they know if they can get the DBs doing stuff or force him into a dime or a nickel, he can run. Alex Smith is not a guy that's going to scramble out of there and run and make things happen. So you don't have to worry about that. So here we get. So I'm
just kind of take a guess here. So just watching that man in motion going to the right, and the fact that the DB is staying with him, is this man coverage?
Yeah, you can usually tell when a guy's running with them. They're in a man. Very rarely do they disguise it. Up to a point, guy might start to come in and then stop and head back out because he's supposed to. He's not supposed to cross a linebacker because he's in the zone or what have you. But once they start crossing, then that's usually where we're going to be. And oftentimes, the best thing you can see is when you're in jam coverage. Usually, people think, well, I'd rather go in motion when this DB is back. Well, the reason why you'd rather the DB be pressed up, which is why it's kind of surprising now they're down inside the 6-yard line that the Eagles weren't in some sort of a press, is if he was in press, you'd want this guy going behind these guys. And the reason why is you can run running plays and other stuff, and you run it right when they're in the way of these linebackers. So the fact that he's back there, that actually works, for Washington. But at the same time, you kind of want him to be up here if you're going to run a running play inside. So, yes, you get man-to-man defense coming across as he comes across there. Clear that out. So he gives him the hand gesture, comes across in motion, running the early snap, and teams are doing this. Again, he could be handing off to him, kind of giving looks so the linebackers had to respect it there, good protection. But now what you get is this same look where you get confusion.
Look at that
and this
tight
is what I
end.
wanted because we've had this problem. This is why I chose this play, not only because it complemented, but I try to find plays that I think, man, what would I run if I was going against the Seahawks defense? Well, I'd run that last play, and I would run this type of a play where I'm putting guys in motion because I have a quarterback who's not that experienced, so I can already let him somewhat determine if I've got man or zone. Some teams don't like the motion very much, but he knows right now that he's got man-to-man. He knows corners going. So once he gets to this spot, usually if you have a single receiver to one side of the field that you think is a solid enough receiver, you'll tell a guy, even at the NFL level, your job is to read one guy. You're just going to look at one guy when you drop back. So as he drops back, his read is this man right here. He knew that this guy was in man-to-man against this motion guy. He already saw him go. Well, he understands that he's got a back going out of the backfield, and he's got this guy who's running this route right here.
So he's got to choose.
Yep. He just has to make the smart choice based on this guy right here. A lot of times, teams that the easier way to teach this is when you have a single receiver on the outside and you might be in this position and you're teaching the receiver's running a route where he's doing this and doing doing a corner route, and then another receiver's doing this and doing a come back to the outside, and you're trying to say, okay, what's that DB who's sitting on the outside? You're just watching him, and if he drops back, you throw it up close. If he runs up, throw it behind him. So you're doing the same thing here to this corner, this nickel guy that's on the outside. So all he has to do is just simply, he's looking at the whole time. Again, not the great. I'd still want him to look to the right. So again, he's just staring at it. He's staring at it. So, but this guy's in a man-to-man. This guy that we talked about right here, he's in man-to-man. So he was already pre-locked with this guy. The problem was Eagles defense didn't communicate it well enough, and there's frustration after the play. That's why he becomes so wide open, because they didn't switch. So they either should have switched, or the guy should have kept going in motion and stayed with him to stay with the play. Instead, wide open. So really nice play design, but that pre-commercial of the motion allowed Haskins to already know beforehand, okay, looks like they're man. So now when I drop back, I'm just going to take half the field, which you do with quarterbacks early in their career. Try not to have them read too much. Let's try to cut the field in half, or let's try to make it a short field. So that first play we showed, that was making the field really short. So everybody's running 5 yards, just make the right choice. This one is, you know what, we're just going to make you just read one half of the field. We're going to motion from the left side. We're going to swing it back out of the backfield to the left side, and we're going to run a corner route on the left side. So you just read it and make a choice. But again, I'll guarantee in the film room, please, can you not be looking to the left the entire time at that guy? Because he's already staring right at him.
And so for the quarterback, he basically had one choice or two choices to make. He either goes to I think that was the tight end going into the end zone, or the back in the flat. Either way, one of them is going to be open, right? Because there's two guys, and one guy, and the defender has to decide. Yeah. Yeah.
At this point, it's game over. As long as he makes the right choice. And again, you have to think so quick on your feet, right? Like, but he's making the decision right now because he has to settle, throw, and gather. But all he's doing is he's really not looking so much, in this spot with the tight end. He's looking again at the same guy that I've put the circle over 3 times now. He's looking right here, and all he's doing is if he gets ready to set forward, that he sees he's going forward, make the throw here, make the throw to the back corner. If this guy had settled up and dropped back to that, trouble. If the Eagles had played it right, what should have happened was this guy would have settled and come back over to this spot. But there was a lack of communication. He started to go across. There was a guy over here that all of a sudden started to run. So you had basically 2 guys going with this motion. So the guy that started out back here, he took himself out of the play by covering this. And so this guy, the safety back here, was in no man's land. He originally started as the corner. Now he dropped to safety when it should have either been run with this guy, safety stay over the top, or don't run with the guy and let the free safety that was there pick up that guy. So that's why this play works. And again, nice design play, simple play, allows him to make the throw. And again, nice sling of the arm. Like, this is what people liked about Haskins in terms of a guy that doesn't have to step into the pass. Now, he doesn't have the greatest footwork, but when he doesn't need to have it, I mean, that's usually you want your quarterback to step in and throw. This is an all-arm pass. Boom. Right there. Quick hitter. So pretty solid play on that one there, Norb. Couple plays, and I have a couple left, but a couple good ones that are just very simple, high percentage, and more. I'm focusing on the handful of different pass plays they do, because they're totally different than what Alex Smith does, and the next 3 are completely different. So and
on that play, just one more point on that play before you go to the next one. So basically, from the defensive side of things, it was a miscommunication from the cornerback and the safety, because at some point they needed to communicate to prevent that no-win situation where basically he was going to get a touchdown or close to a touchdown on whether it's the running back or the tight end, because once he cleared out, there was nobody left to defend that side of the field, right? So
yeah, and we talk about it, since the first time I started, working with you, but definitely since I began coaching, right? There are no secrets on defense. Offense has to camouflage things. They have to come up with special verbiage, Omaha, all those different things. Defense, you just should constantly be communicating from the moment you're, either breaking the huddle, or now they don't really even huddle anymore. Players are coming in from the moment the substitution takes place. Guys are talking. So when he went in motion, he actually did communicate. So he was the one that was yelling, but the free safety, there was miscommunication that took place. Kind of one of those, I got him, you take him type of deals, where corner started to move. He communicated something to that safety, but that safety then went downhill, and all of a sudden the corner that was talking to him got stuck, and that's when he started settling, going lateral. But he didn't know, I was supposed to take that guy that went in motion, or maybe he wasn't, right? Maybe he wasn't supposed to take him, because in that scheme, hey, if the guy goes in motion, you were just going to bump.
Pass him off to somebody else.
And goes, oh man, it's my mistake in the film room the following Monday. When in the game, he's thinking it was that guy's fault. So They should be communicating. That it's just a miscommunication there. But we've done that. So it's not about me saying, people are probably wondering, well, why are you talking about what the Eagles do on defense? This is all about education for what we need to be doing. So if they're going in motion, doing those things, our defensive backs need to be communicating what's going on, because it happened against the Jets where all of a sudden we have a breakdown and Adams, comes up, which he was supposed to do. But at the end of the game, we're blowing him out. But in a close game, that guy goes wide open on a crossing across the field because we have poor communication and there's no one within 25 yards of him. So they're going to see those type of things. So we have to be able to communicate. You can't win a Super Bowl if you're not a great, team that communicates, exceptionally well.
All right. Well, let's go to the next play.
All right. So we're going to let the play run. The guy came in motion there. So again, the type of plays that I really like, I know some people in our chats before when we do the round tables and on the Mondays to talk about, why don't the Seahawks do a quick passing game, one-step passing game? This is what you're going to get with him. The difference is strong arm, big arm, and they run him at different angles. So we saw the play where there was all hitches before. Now we're going to see a play where they like to run motion more with Haskins. With Alex, there's not as much motion because they're just simple vanilla. Now all of a sudden we're getting more of the motion that's taking place. And again, what this allows him to see is you get to determine, okay, is it a man? Well, this guy came running across. It has to be a man. So right away, you're helping your quarterback out with that. That's the beauty of motion, is putting them in that spot. Now, very, very soft over the top defense. Again, I'm not going to question what they're doing other than a little different when they're down there. But if you look at the play development, great pass pro, running back's picking him up, but he's already got the ball ready to go. He's predetermined. So some quarterbacks, when they're, again, back to inexperienced quarterbacks, you'll tell them, make your pre-snap read, and that's who you're throwing to. You already know before the snap who you're throwing to. Don't even second guess it, which I think is why he's really zoning in it, turning his head towards it, because it's kind of that rule of throw it to the guy you think you're going to, you plan to throw to pre-snap, and if he's not there, throw it away, because you don't have time to come back and check on a one-step drop. So pre-snap, he sees that DB came downhill. The DB that's sitting up here at the top, all of a sudden he sees him go with the motion, which alerts you to the fact that it's a man coverage. And then as he's dropping, he's already looking left. And so he's reading. He sees that the DB back here is sitting back. He's sitting back soft, but he can also see that this DB that's coming down, he's coming down hard down the hill. So he's reading this little two-man game over here on what they have over here, which is the slant. He's going to come and go slant, and then this guy's just running the quick out on the slot, became the motion spot. So they run it. Now, what's really nice here, as he's throwing it, when he drops back, most would think, well, okay, why, throw it to this out route. But he sees that he didn't know that this guy fell, I'll tell you that much. Some people say, well, the guy fell, that's why he threw it there. He was already throwing it before the corner fell down. But what's great about it is he knew that by that corner that dropped down really fast, that he was going to have this huge lane. So again, if we go back just a second, watch this guy right here. When he comes down hard in motion, not motion, when he's picking up the guy in motion, then he accelerates really hard to pick him up in a tight man-to-man. That's who Haskins reading. If he'd have settled down, Haskins throws the out route. But the fact that he starts sprinting so hard tells Haskins that he's about to have a great passing lane right here, as long as he throws it behind the guy who's covering the motion man. So I'm going to let it play regular speed. And as he throws it, he's throwing behind that guy into that window. So again, nice confidence throw, and I think this is what we're going to see early on from them. Just develop, get their running game going a little bit, but create these nice window passing lanes. Whereas he's dropping, he's reading that guy, and he can see that guy's running. That guy's not even looking at him. So that just tells him right now, just throw it behind him. This is not an easy pass. Slant routes are extremely difficult to throw, and he throws a great job of the hands.
Circle up.
Do you know a guy on our team that could watch this film on catching the ball with your hands? I won't say it.
Yeah,
I won't say it.
Yeah, your hands work better than face masks, from what I heard, when it comes to catching the ball, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I love the fact that, again, when they're going, guys can make plays. They have more playmakers than just, they're starting guys or guys that are, leading the team in rushing, leading the team in receiving. They have a nice complement of players. But even on the backside, all their routes. He could have done a pre-snap read to the backside, but their game, a lot of times you'll say, we're going to run a game on the front side or a game on one side and regular stuff on the backside. So the game is this slant out route at the bottom of the film. On the top of the film, we're just running double slants. So, pick your poison, and really not a slant. The top route's more of a square in. But really could have thrown to the top, but he knows that there's a game down at the bottom. That's who he's going to throw to. So just seeing it real quick from the end zone as he's dropping back, you can see how he's looking and he's reading that DB that's coming down the hill. So watch the DB coming to the screen from the bottom of the hill, sprinting hard, boom, I'll just throw it right behind him. And again, from this angle, you can really see it's lack of footwork, but it's actually excellent footwork when it comes to a guy's in his face, so he has no choice. This is where having a strong arm comes into play. So while he's not the greatest, let's just drop back and make the read, they're not making him do that, right? They're making him take that depth step, which buys him just a little fraction more time, allows the receivers to get in the route more. And I'm more of a fan of this than what we do with Russ. Again, Russ is great, but he's great with his depth step. I'd love to see him take that depth step, let our receivers get into a little bit more range. You remember a few weeks ago, Norb, we talked about the rub route that Metcalf missed out on when he and Locker were running the rub because it just didn't happen in time. So same thing here. Look at his feet. I mean, that's a poor position to be in when you're throwing the football.
And we always he's done that more than once in just the sample of plays you have. We've seen him already do a couple of no-step throws. It's all arm.
Yeah, and we always teach the 90 rule, right, where your back foot goes to this one angle and your front foot should be going, pointing in the direction that you're throwing. So if he was to be following that rule, this back foot would be right about here, and the front foot would be stepping into here, throwing wherever he's throwing. But he's standing back, and it makes it very hard because now you're not using body mechanics to get the aim of the football to go. But he's got 94 coming right down his throat. So you have a 260-pound dude running a 4.3 coming down his throat.
You don't want to step into him, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to step into that. It's a very difficult place.
So, hey, Bill, can you sorry, when you're ready, I want to take it back to that sideline all-22 view. I wanted to ask you a question about why this play was also successful. Can you go back to the sideline view?
So you can just see the big triangle space. And again, how many times have we seen so much space in our defense? We're getting a lot better at it over the last few weeks. I don't think you can count the Jets game, so I'm kind of using that as a throwaway. But in other games, we've had those moments where it's like, God, where's the linebackers? Where's the DB? Like, why is there so much space? So we have to be careful of that. So let's go back to the all-22.
Well, that's what I'm going to ask here. So right here, so you got this middle line. I can't reach that far, but the middle linebacker, he's way over. Yeah, my hand goes out of the screen. That middle linebacker. So part of the fact that he's blitzing. This also kind of live by the blitz, die by the blitz, right? Because if let's say that guy were to not blitz and settle in his zone back there, this play, if he's reading the quarterback, he might be in a position to do the old Bobby Wagner and slide over and possibly intercept this route, right? So the fact that he's blitzing makes that play perfect because there's nobody in the middle to defend and get in the way of that slant. Is that correct? That it kind of worked out perfectly that he was also blitzing?
So there's. You're correct. You're absolutely correct from a standpoint of, when you're bringing the house, so to speak, and kind of having this total, this is a complete umbrella on the backside. You're saying, hey, we think that we can get to your quarterback before you can get off a decent pass. And again, they obviously don't know the play that's coming, but they've created cushion for themselves. They're saying, look, we're going to give you stuff underneath. We don't trust that your quarterback can throw very well, and we think we can beat your offensive line. So we're going to come after you. And the fact that they're blitzing is why, the nickel guy is going to play aggressive on that out route. And now all of a sudden they get to the spot where, again, you got 6 guys coming. That guy came in the middle of the field. So you get this perfect spot of coverage back here, except for the fact that, he picks the ball off. If they go into, we used to refer to this as a goal line 5, goal line 6, or goal line 7, but we wouldn't run it until we were back near the goal line. We would put 6 guys or 7 guys or even 8 guys equal across the field from sideline to sideline. DBs, linebackers, everybody, but they'd be in the end zone. And we would just say, you don't cross anybody's paths. You just cover left and right and let the receivers run slants, outs, whatever. You just keep your head on a swivel and jump on the ball. Well, kind of the same concept here, but they're a little bit more man-to-man because you can see his head eyed in there. Problem is, for Philly, is that this guy came down hard. If he would have sat there like these 3, like maybe they went man-to-man, let me clear out some of the Madden mess over here. If they'd have just gone man-to-man here, but you can see these guys are dropping back into more of a, let's just protect things, not let anything happen. If he would have stayed back here, then it's tough going. Maybe they get the 5-yard completion versus what they had here. So the fact that they took the blitz, took the chance, Norb, you're absolutely right. Just a good play.
It just reminds me, we've had a lot of times we've been pretty aggressive on the blitz this year, and we've had some times where we got majorly burned because we chose to get real aggressive on the blitz at the worst possible time. I think about the Bills game. There's one particular play where we set the house, and they had the perfect antidote against that play. So often makes those plays look even better, even when the guy's staring him down because there's nobody there to do anything about it.
Yeah, right? No doubt about it. And the thing is, everybody wants us to play aggressive, but you have to kind of pick and choose, right? So what is your personality, and that's going to be what you are. And this year it seems like we've kind of gone from this, let's stay back a little bit, to let's adjust. And, sometimes when your job's on the line, AKA Ken Norton, sometimes you do have to go drastic a little bit. And maybe, some players come and plead to you like, hey, coach, we just have to change. We have to play aggressive. All of a sudden you change a little bit and things start working for you. But it also means you're risking getting beat by that big home run ball too. Right. So there's some trade-offs there, but I still would rather see us. I would always rather be aggressive. Blitz. Definitely against these guys. Because again, what I see with Philadelphia at times was they were playing. You have to kind of play man when you run those type of blitzes, but I don't think you have to do it by rule all the time. Certain teams are starting to now blitz and just run that little umbrella coverage, which we see on Washington's defense, right? We saw in defense how they're bringing, 7 and 8 guys, and they're just staying in that nice umbrella in the back. Like, hey, if we don't get to you, we'll give you the underneath 5 to 10 yards, but we're not going to get beat deep because we didn't get to you. You picked up our blitz, and now you're throwing over the top of us. So I like how they play it. I wish they break the rule of blitz and play man to man. They blitz and play zone. Mm-hmm. So two left.
All right, let's see the next one.
So this one is this is almost kind of painful to watch from a standpoint of in this game because I thought they ran a lot of stuff here that I'd seen them run in 2 other games that I watched.
Make sure you switch to switch to that play, Bill. Let me bring that up. You'll see the play, Norb, and I think you'll understand why I chose this one because in this game alone they ran this 7 times, 7 various ways, but this scheme of a play. It's the old fake pitch, fake pass to the left, and bubble. I don't know if that's is that a bubble screen. That's technically a bubble screen to the right.
You're getting the fake pass and those things. But the key here is that they run a nice little screen to the wide receiver. So I'm going to ignore the commercial that's in the backfield, kind of the fake throw, even though it does set the defense a little bit. What I'm more into is there's times where you want your team to play the side of the ball they are, meaning offensive mentality, defensive mentality. Then there's times where you want your offensive guys, specifically your O-line, to play with a defensive-minded mentality, meaning get after it, play like big dogs, go knock somebody down, show them that, even if you miss, you do it full speed. So what's going to happen is they're going to, again, forget the commercial that's in the background, but as we let the play start to develop here, you're going to see, I want you to just watch the interior 3 linemen. The receivers, it's easy to pick up that stuff, but where we struggle with our screens is our running backs, I don't think get to the right spots, or our receivers don't get to the right spots, and our linemen are trying to get to certain angles. But it's the hustle of these interior 3. The left guard, he's going to do a quick just check, and then he's going to get out of there. But these guys are going to be on their way and settling, and you'll see as the lanes start to open up what gets created. And I love it. And again, when you have a younger, inexperienced quarterback, you're making it a really easy, simple, short throw and letting your athletes make the plays. So far we've seen a play where it's all slant or all hitches, 5 receivers running 5 yards. We saw a play where it's half the field. Like, hey, just look at half the field and read one man. If he drops back, swing to the left, comes up, throw the back out over there. Then we saw run in motion, again, half field play, a slant and an out route, simple. And now we're seeing a screen. So it's just as vanilla as a short passing game like an Alex Smith would run. The difference is the variety here is so much, it's vastly different with a guy who can also scramble. So go ahead. You have a question, Norb?
Oh no, I'm just watching.
Okay. So again, the lineman gets the shove, he gets the shove, and now as this bubble comes, it almost looks like they're not going to get there in time. Typically on when you have 2 receivers on the same side of where the screen is, the outside receiver is going to come in over the top. So this receiver, he's coming in, and then the slot receiver, his job is to go block the corner. Oh, he's going to block. He always blocks the man that he just took over for. So to make it cleaner, and then I'm going to come to the lineman because that's the best part of the thing. So again, he's coming over the top here to get the ball, and then he's going to follow his lineman. The key is catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage, follow your lineman, and the key for this guy is make that corner go down and around you. So you want that corner to go this side of you and have to chase this way. And then you hope your linemen get out there, and you hope 2 of your 3 linemen can do something. You're rarely going to get all 3 to do something. You want 2 of your 3. And then usually you get a guy like this who just, hey, do something fun so everybody can enjoy it. So he just jumps up in the air and waves like he just doesn't care. So off we go. But as you can see down here, again, let's watch this little group right here. The linemen, the 3 linemen that are coming. Now, if you're these guys right here, and what I love is the middle player, let me point him out. This guy right here. He starts to run. I'm going to back it up a second. Watch what he does when he notices that a lineman is coming his direction. So he's the middle guy. He settle. He just doesn't know quite what to do, doesn't know what to do. He's the guy who ends up shoving him out. So I'll play it from. We'll play it live time again from the beginning. Just watch the left inside backer. So you're watching this guy right here. Because of the lineman coming out, because they time it so well, his job should be to come up and force the play. He's a force linebacker. Come up and, whether he's a DB or a linebacker, he's playing in the linebacker position. So his job, once he sees that it's a run inside, run to the sideline, or a quick pass, is to come up and aggressively make something happen, which allows this guy to make a play, or this guy to make a play, or this guy to make a play. But that he's got to be the one that makes something happen. Watch how tentative he becomes when he sees that linemen are coming at a full rate of steam his direction. Again, just keep your eye on him, and you'll see the linemen start to come. Where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? But now he's trying to keep his arm. That's a world of hurt. That's a really nice play. And again, I know people want, why aren't we showing 8 plays that score touchdowns against these teams? This is how a team like this is going to operate. Beat you on defense, short yards, games on offense, and don't have your quarterback hurt you. There's just a really nice developed play that takes place. So I'm going to move it to the end zone view, because you get to really, really see it well with the interior lineman. This is where you get a great appreciation for solid O-line play. And Norb, quiz question. Do you remember the nickname for the Washington offensive lineman back when they were winning Super Bowls? When they had John Riggins at the running back position.
The Washington offense, you mean the lineman as a whole?
Offensive lineman, the unit had a name. The unit.
I remember Riggins. I remember that Super Bowl. I remember Riggins. I do not remember the name of the lineman.
I'm gonna put it out there for the crowd, and see if it comes up in the chat. I think a lot of people.
Okay, the nickname for the offensive line. Yep, nope. You got me beat on that one.
We'll see if it comes out. I'll give it a few seconds and come back to it. So here's what we have. Again, these interior 3. 67, 73, and 75. Let it run regular speed. Look at 75. I mean, it is so cool to see. Watch number 75. We'll just play it 3 times. Oh, we might glitch here. Just watch 75 on this one. 75. Now watch the effort.
Got took out 2 guys.
Great effort. Watch 73, the center. Gets the touch, full speed. He's the guy who keeps blocking. I mean, that's a center that's hustling down there. And then 67, he's the, like I said, you usually get 2. You hope to get 2 out of 3, and they roughly get 3 out of 3 because 75 knocks out 2 of them almost. But 67 gets his touch. Now he's going as well. He's going full speed. So if the receiver had to cut back, 67's in a great spot, and 82 the receiver took care of that corner, and then he's also second effort or third effort or 3E effort down the field, right? So that slot receiver who was just supposed to block the corner, that's his job, just block the corner. But when we come and see him, he's blocked the corner, and now he's going to leave him and hustle down to the next level. If there's a cutback, it's great. Love it. Absolutely love it. And let me show you what this sets up. When we talk about things that can be setting up for a big play, which is something that I would look for, because they run this play quite a bit, but I didn't see the play I'm about to share with you right now in the couple of games. Obviously, I haven't watched their entire season, but even when I watched their season highlights, didn't see it. Here's what you get in a lot of stuff, and I don't have the telestrator up. I had to take it off because it was glitching a little bit. Slot receiver, number 82, who's supposed to block that corner, he'll do that a couple times in the game, and then what happens is they fake that. These linemen, the 3 linemen, instead of running down the field, they still will run at a little bit of an angle, but one of them will stay to block, two of them will run sideways so as not to cross down or go downfield, which allows for now deep passes. And now that slot, everybody does the exact same thing. The guy at top jumps up in the air, they fake the little throw one way, the bubble screen comes in the middle, but that slot receiver who was supposed to block that corner, and he runs at him 2 times earlier and blocks him. So what does that corner do? He does everything he can to avoid him the next time he sees him. But this time, instead of blocking him, he intentionally misses him, and now he's running down the numbers. And the quarterback, instead of throwing to that bubble, he's throwing to that slot receiver who's now running down the sidelines to the end zone. So I hope I articulated that in the right way.
So that's
slot receiver
plays set
it's
up.
the complement to the bubble screen.
Yeah,
the home
setting
run
it up
off
for
a bubble
something
screen.
else big. Yeah.
With a guy who can throw it, even with guys in his face, he can throw a 50-yard, 40, 50-yard bomb high in the air, deep in the air, to that slot guy who's running down the field. So that's, I used to love to run that over and over. We'd set it up, and then, all right, this play, fake it, and head down the field. And it's just a nice play.
The chat, by the way, has they had the answer there. It was the Hogs, right?
The Hogs.
Yeah. Actually, I knew that. 'Cause I remember they were wearing the hog nose and stuff. I just didn't put it together. But yes, that's right. Yeah, there's
dating myself a little bit here with the
credit
LT
to the
reference
chat. Credit to the chat for some of you guys knowing that one. Go back a few years.
Final play coming up.
All right.
So here we go. And then, as you can see, I don't know if you noticed the score. So this is a game.
It's close.
They were down 17-0, and then scored.
This is that comeback. Yeah.
So this is early in the season. Big play. So you can see the type of offensive. They're wanting to run. So here, you got kind of a little bit of a jumbo because you got the tight end, and you brought in an extra big body out on the outside there. Give me just a second here, Norb.
You trying to get your telestrator back in action here?
Yeah, I think I can get it back up. Sometimes it just glitches for a second. And there you go. There's the free commercial.
Talking about commercials.
Yeah. All right. So as we head down here, tell me, I'll let you watch it once. I think you're going to see something very familiar here, Norb.
Oh, there it is. That's like
did you recognize where that receiver came from?
Yeah.
And how he got there? Look familiar?
Yeah, it feels like Lockett and Disley. We kind of use them in a similar fashion, but slightly different
we've been
motion.
running this for a long time, but this is my favorite play that the Seahawks run. My absolute favorite play that they run because of the way it gets set up, and because you can run it multiple ways, and because this last week they rewarded a tight end by doing it. But basically, what you're going to get is you're going to get this receiver coming in motion hard. And then he's just going to sit here for a second. And then what he's going to do is after the snap, where it looks like the running play is going to come this direction, receiver's going to, after the snap, go between the line and the quarterback. So the quarterback's already past him, going to fake the handoff. He comes behind the line of scrimmage, heads out into the flat to make the play. And I love the play development because it's very, very hard, because it looks like a runaway. A run that's away from the backside players. So most of these guys back here, you tell them to stay at home. He's got to rush it, stay at home or pick up a guy. Now he's communicating something here. Like I've got him or you take him or what have you. But as the play starts to happen, you see he comes here, he settles. And now it looks like, because all the hats, meaning all the helmets of Washington, are going to the left, every single one of them on the line. Rare is that the case. Usually the top side tight end up there won't do it as hard, because he's going to release out into the play. But the fact that they're all going downhill, look at the defense. I mean, at this point right here, on the right side of the field, this from here and here, everybody's to the right, up on the other side.
They're selling out for the run here. Yeah.
I mean, that is absolutely, they are sold on the run. So when a team is doing that, and now I get the early in the season, the preseasons were different, everything else, but still, even when I watch later games, teams were biting on this because they fake it so well. And I think, again, with their offense being so simplified, they're repping things over and over and over and over again, to where our offense, because we're trying to be so diverse and really don't have identity, there's only so much you can rep over a couple of days. So you're repping a play once or twice. They're repping a play like this 5 times, 7 times. And then
it reminds me of Bellevue High School, who years back, they didn't do a lot. They just ran the ball, but they ran that, what do you call it, wing tee?
The wing tee.
The wing tee to perfection, where it was a shell game. You had no idea who had the football.
Yeah, you didn't. And they would rep it over and over and over again. But you didn't know that they could run the same play, but run it multiple directions to multiple players in multiple areas. So as we continue to move forward on this, again, what I love about it is the tight end. Now, conversely, when we run the play, we rarely do any sort of blocking to sell it from the standpoint of the tight end. So usually what happens with us is we're in like 2 receivers to the outside, and so we would have we'd have somebody maybe up here and another receiver that's up here, and then Lockett might start over here in the slot. And so then now these guys are running something, to the corner, and maybe he's running a crossing route and settling here, and it allows space to get out into that spot. What happens is, and I actually really love it this way because I think the tight end is the most underrated position in all of sports. You can quote me on it. The most underrated position in all of sports is the tight end. If you have a great tight end, you need to utilize them. And the ones that dominate, look at the teams over the years and the great tight ends that there have been. When they dominate, they absolutely dominate. Well, the reason they do it is because they block well, which sets up how they receive, go out into the passing lane. What you're going to see here is you're going to get a great 1001, 1002, almost to 3 seconds. So the fact that it looks like he's blocking and he is blocking is what is going to allow him to become open. But what I love is they throw just to the short guy. And when I say I love it, I'm saying I love it from a standpoint of play development. If they run it against the Seahawks and it's successful, I'm going to hate this, right? But the fact that they're running it and running it successfully here, it's something that we have to be smart about and know that, hey, we have to stay at home. And you can, on a different episode, I talked about staying at home in terms of the backside players. So what happens is, again, if you watch the tight end, see how he's blocking? He's blocking, and now then it was I'm sorry, I had the wrong tight end, but the tight end was inside. He's the one who had the play blocked. I just covered him. Down there, now he's pushed him off, and now he's gone. So he could have thrown, to me, there's enough space here for an NFL quarterback to make this pass from here to here where you lead it in front of him. He's in a good spot, threw his guy off, makes the play. But why would you not throw to the guy who, hey, what do you know? He's circling up, right? So he's circling up, going to make the catch. Now, young quarterback and people that are out there, if you were taking a class of mine, where again, things are running a little bit more smoothly because I've done the classes for 20 years versus the coach's corner. We've been working on these new technical stuff for the last few weeks. I would be saying, what do you see here? And Norb, I'm going to ask you with the quarterback, and it's kind of a rhetorical question, so don't worry about having to answer it. The players are doing all their things here, but if I was coaching up the quarterback on where he should be positioned when he's throwing the ball, and I'll take it back a little bit so you can actually just kind of see him doing it. We always tell the quarterback, as he's coming to run, notice how he throws it and where he finishes. Now, the other 2 passes have been the exact same as this one. All arm, body sideways.
And his body's falling away from the line of scrimmage.
Yes, bingo. Again, a guy who's played in the Kingdom back in 1981 in NorbCam knows his football, right? You can see it right here. I mean, this is just brutally poor mechanics, because what you want with a quarterback who's sprinting out against a single defensive back, let alone usually there's a defensive back that's deep. They just happen to bite on this. Usually you're going to have a guy who's, probably sitting back here maybe, depending on if there's 2 receivers. And then you're going to have a linebacker who's going to be in a choice position. And you want your quarterback to come around and start moving towards the football, towards the line of scrimmage, to force this linebacker to be in a position of either come up and try to make the tackle, at which point now you're going to dink it over the top. Or if that linebacker gets out there who's sitting out here and then drops back, well, what should your quarterback do? Keep running with the football, right? That's what Russ does great. Russ is at his best when he attacks the line of scrimmage. And we always taught our quarterbacks, we want you to be of the mindset on a sprint out that you're going to make a lead block for the receiver you're throwing to. So if he was to come around the end here, throw it, come forward, now you have a perfect body position to make the pass. Then after you make the pass, keep coming downhill as if you're going to make the lead block, but you don't touch anybody because we don't want you to, get yourself injured. And now you're in a position to get ready to run the next play if we're cooking. Like if Russ was cooking, right? That's the reason he does it so well is because he finishes going forward, and now ball's completed. He's already running down the field. He can get the next play. Boom, we're ready to go. If all of a sudden their coaches want them to run a hurry-up offense, and I'm taking a little time because it's the last play, say they get a big play here, and now all of a sudden the coaches give their signal to get on the ball. We're going quick because this is a great play for us in a close game. We want to make something happen. And now your quarterback is literally finishing, how far away from the play, right? He's floating back there, and this play's gone all the way down to the 20. I would have our guys right on the ball running, even if it's just a basic running play. But instead, your quarterback going the wrong direction. So that's the positive side of Haskins playing to me is he's still just so raw and so new that he's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw a couple of interceptions because I think of we're playing well on defense. He hasn't played very much for a while, so he's kind of what I was saying about Rashard Penny. He's in a position there where, how confident is he? He's been kind of known to be a powder a little bit. He's got himself into some trouble. So we'll see if he can be of the mindset, and do these guys follow him? Yeah. Because the whole town is falling in love with the Alex Smith story. I mean, how can you not? And now this guy's coming in having to do something. Do his linemen trust him? Do the receivers trust him? What were the issues going on earlier? But again, the guy at the top, the CEO, and by CEO I mean the head coach, he's a guy that thrives on those types. Give me a challenge and I will make it better for us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. It's interesting. Now I'm definitely going to be looking for some mechanics from Haskins and watching to see if he's going to look down the receiver and see if that throwing mechanics might bite him, because it's on the easy throw where it's not much to contend with. He can get away with it, but if he's got to try to make a longer throw down the field, stepping into it to try to put some mustard on it, trying to get between some defenders, that might cost him and maybe be a pick or something like that, right?
Well, and we have to be able to get to him, right? I mean, he's able to make those throws because if you notice, nobody's touching him, right? So even though his mechanics are poor, it's kind of like you develop a bad habit and keep those bad habits going, because there's only two types of habits, right? There's good and there's bad ones. He's had those bad mechanics, but he's learned how to become efficient with those poor mechanics. Well, poor mechanics become flawed mechanics when you're getting hit in the ribs when you're throwing. Someone's at your feet when you're throwing. Guys are jamming. The coverage is great when you're throwing. Again, when you're throwing all those hitches, there was so much space there, right? When he threw that slant and out route, big opening gap. So is that him making some great plays, or is that in this situation the Eagles defense, or in other situations, there's a reason why the record was what it was. But if I'm looking at just the last few games and I take that defense, how well they're playing, and the offense just playing well enough to just be, hey, quarterbacks, just manage us, do well, don't hurt us. That is Seahawks football 2013, 2014, 2015, those seasons right there. That was our recipe, right? Aggressive, strong D, hard hitters, quarterback that could make plays. He was better than a managing quarterback, but they weren't asking him to do a ton of stuff. Mm-hmm. We just had a great running game. I think the running game is good. It's coming along, but it's I don't think it's what we can have, what we should have.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So some extra plays, but I think it was worth to pick up on, in the preview versus the review.
Well, especially for a team that we don't know that well, and we'll be kind of seeing for the first time really up close and in person, so to speak. So, yeah. Well, let's get to a phone call here. This is what I tried to get in last time. He might have had some connection issues, but let's see if we can get him this time. It's the Seahawks for Life. We tried to get him last time. I think maybe in the chat we were getting it worked out, but let's find out if we can get him on here. Seahawks for Life, are you there? I hear you.
Yes.
Hey. All right. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Nicky Coeur d'Alene.
Nick. You say Nick? Nicky?
Nicky from Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, Nicky from Coeur d'Alene. Okay.
Great city. Love Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
Beautiful city.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got you on. Worked out the technical
Nicky?
stuff. Yeah. What you got? Nope. Nick, you there still? Nicky?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay.
Was there a screenplay, and was it necessary to turn to throw the ball?
I I didn't quite catch the full question, but I think it was about the fake pass one direction to throw the screen the other direction.
Like the second to final play, and I was like, maybe he doesn't throw like that.
I'm sorry, Norb, I'm not quite picking up the cut.
I know. I hear the first part, and then it breaks up. Yeah, something about the second.
Talking about the second to last
play.
So on the screen pass to the right, and the quarterback faked the pass to the left.
Pass to the left, and then he threw the bubble screen to the right. Right, that's the play you're asking about.
Maybe we can just get a yes or no from you, Nikki. Is the question if the fake pass to the left was something to set up that screen to the right?
Yeah, I was just saying if it's necessary.
I keep missing that last word.
It's like crystal clear for the first word.
I'm gonna try my best to answer. What I hope you might be asking. So,
I'm a Star Wars movie, so I'll just message you.
I heard a Star Wars reference too.
I heard Star Wars. I know there's Star Wars talk in the chat or something. Star Wars 1, 2, 3. Are you banned or muted?
Yeah. So he may have been throwing to Luke Skywalker, turned around, saw Chewbacca on the screen on the other side. To answer the question, because I didn't cover it, and maybe I should have covered it a little bit. Again, that it's a great commercial. You don't need to have it. It's the timing of what they're trying to do and where they're trying to get all three of those linemen out there. So if he was to step up and get the ball, like when we try to run it, Russ gets it and he turns both of his feet really quick. So it's almost a bunny hop where he's getting the ball, and as he's receiving it, he quickly turns and throws it. So the ball's already out, which doesn't allow much timing to get your lineman as far down the field at an angle, so deep and depth and width to allow that receiver to get in and behind them to make the play. So the fact that Haskins gets the ball, fakes a pass to his left, turns around, throws to his right. By that time, now that bubble receiver has come, 10 yards inside, allows the slot to get his spot, and those linemen have a chance to chip block, meaning get a quick hit on somebody if somebody's in front of them, which for two of them there wasn't really. But a quick chip block got him out there, and now they're full head of steam. So that's what I love about that. But he could have done that with just a strong one-step drop and done the same thing. But a lot of his, if he's throwing it so hard in practice, and sometimes with a quarterback, they have a hard time throwing the knuckleball or the off speed. So throw it hard, but when you're throwing the fullbacks or somewhere close, keep it soft, even though the fullbacks don't play as much anymore. Just make that an easy pass. So he might be throwing it so hard that the coach said, look, the timing is so brutal when he throws it. We have to do something else to slow down the rate of him receiving that ball so that the lineman can get there.
Yeah, and I think he's making the question in the chat. Star Wars 1, 2, 3. He says, "Is it necessary to turn when he throws?" I think because he does kind of a spin, right? He does that thing and then he spins and then throws the bubble screen.
Yeah. So here, I'm gonna pull it right back up so you just see the first 3 seconds of it showing from behind. Here. So what you'll see here is
switch to the play. Bring the play up there, Bill, on your screen.
You able to see it there, Norb?
Yep.
Okay, so what we get here is he's going to do just quick here, but again, at this level, what it does is it freezes the linebackers just enough. And again, if you watch the linebackers, just watch the linebacker. Try not to watch Haskins on just for the split second here. Watch the two linebackers. You'll get a sense of what Haskins has done based on the linebackers freezing for just a second. So watch the linebackers. At this moment, here comes the fake. Boom, there's the fake pass. And at that moment, look at the lean of both linebackers. Okay, and again, these could be nickel backs. It could be anybody, but I'm calling them linebackers because where they're positioned. Notice how they both, you had to hop out of this guy and it set him for just a second. Look at the linemen where they're already going. So from the time the snap took place and the fact that you have to allow time for 1, 2, or 3 of these players to have to chip block somebody in front of them, meaning just tap them enough so they can't just get a free rush to the quarterback, just enough. So that little fake little toss there, which is really nothing, was just enough that they had to respect it because it's just your instincts, right? It didn't look like it was a pass, but he turned his body and he looked that way. And his habit is when he looks where he's throwing there. So he took a shotgun snap, he didn't hand it off, and he looked that direction. I'm gonna have to freeze for a second and respect that. But that allows the lineman to get, an extra step or two, and I'll play it at full speed this one last time. So just now go ahead and watch the kind of this little circle area between I didn't circle it, but this little spot, right? Try to kind of keep your eyes kind of right there in that little center of that circle without moving them. You'll see what I'm talking about. How everybody, linemen get out and they get quicker. They're quicker out there. Now look at that spot where this lineman out here is. He's got that leverage like we talked about earlier. And really, he has the leverage on this guy, right? So even though he's running out there, he could get that guy, or he could go to the safety if he had to, or as he's running out, he could get this guy right here. So they're in great position. And this guy over here also, the first guy that's out, he's the one who slid 5 yards to make the play. So that's where having that little extra piece. But again, I still believe that the whole origination of it stems from right here. The fact that if you do it too quick, if he just gets the ball and throws it, see how this, if you notice this receiver, he had to run most bubble screens. Receivers are going to run usually 3 strides, like left, right, right. Typically, if you're going inside leg up, which the Seahawks do, you'd go right, left, right. And then on that right step, you would then turn and drive back towards the line of scrimmage and head back into the middle. So the receiver down below, he's driving the DB back. Now he's coming in the middle to catch the ball, which allows that first lineman to be there at the moment he catches it. So now he's protected. To where, in the last piece I'll say here again, if he was to throw the ball right now, get it and throw it, he's going to catch the ball way too early. The ball's already there, right? And now poor position. Now it's a 2-on-1 because you have 2 guys that are back there covering it, and that'd be trouble.
Yeah. No, great breakdown. So, thank you for the question. Seahawks for life, and let's see, we had somebody else in, but they disappeared. So that seems to be it for the phone calls. We covered them earlier, but I did want to recognize Taker610 in the super chat says Seahawks on Fox in my market. Hail, Norb, and Coach. So looks like somebody's happy they'll be watching the game tomorrow. And appreciate you guys staying with us. So here's
get up early, have the good breakfast. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a fantastic Sunday. It's always fun when the Seahawks win by 1 o'clock because then you got the rest of your day. Yeah,
hopefully with a win to feel good about it. Yeah. Hey, so we got one more call. We got one more call here, Coach Marsh. We got Jonathan Smith. Hopefully we get a good connection here. Jonathan, you with us?
Hey,
where are you calling from, Jonathan?
I am in Spokane, Washington.
Hey, my sister's family lives out there. We get to go visit every once in a while. All right. So what you got? What's on your mind?
Well, I just saw that this channel was open, so I actually have no idea what's going on.
You just jumped in the last second. All right. Well, we just finished up. Coach Marsh just broke down a bunch of plays for the looking at kind of scouting ahead of the Washington football team. Some of the things that they do on defense.
I was going to say I was doing a reaction to Cobra Kai season 2, episode 1.
I'm personally not knowing anything else. So maybe people can contrast that with what they've learned from you. I'm nervous just because I know they have a good team on defense. Mm-hmm. Offense, well, we should crush, but
I think it's going to be
the heart attack team.
That's it.
You love them, but they give us heart attacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way they played for years, and definitely this season, sans last week. We just seem to we go on the road. We have these tough games that you feel like we're in control of them, and I think this has a chance to be another one of those, right, where you feel like we just should be controlling them, but we're just kind of holding them to the edge, and then we pull it out near the end, and we just make the
we'll say one thing. I know Pete Carroll really does believe one and done, like every week. But I don't think that philosophy always sinks into his team. And so quite frequently, you'll get that 1 or 2 games a season where they just won't look at that next opponent as a threat.
Yeah,
I think those have already happened.
I think what you mean, instead of one and done, I think you mean like one game at a time, right? Not looking past your opponent. Mm-hmm.
But I often feel that doesn't sink into his teams as well as he would like.
So and the way I respond, and I agree with you from a standpoint of, you're never going to get 100% of everybody to buy into that because every coach says, one game at a time, yet we're all thinking, every coach is usually thinking, the title game and the game 2 games down the road and all these other things. The difference is Pete Carroll believes it. That's the thing. He genuinely believes every game is a championship game. The next game is a championship game. Like, we have to play our very best the next game and the next game and the next game and the next game.
I mean, I
you're not going to get everybody to buy into that.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why they've been in the playoffs so much. I mean, because if you don't take every game as the most important thing you can do that week, you're not going to get there. But where that point comes in is with coaches. Like I said, it's the players, for the most part, they will think about, when the game time starts, they're not thinking about 2 games down the road, what have you. But of course, they're looking at their stats as individuals. They're looking at the schedule. They're looking at the standings. They know what's going on. It's coaches who often will get caught up in, I want to look at that game, that bigger game that's coming up. I want to get ready for that film. And so they almost start taking some play, because I had my own, I'd have assistants that would do that. And I know I did that early in my career. I will say there's one really good thing is Russ has had his middle season slump. Mm-hmm. Every season he kind of has this, it's not bad, but he just doesn't play as good as he does in the first month and a half and the last month.
Yeah.
Agreed. And there's 2 areas I trust Russ the most, and it's the final 2 minutes of a game where we need something to happen. Even though last week or a couple weeks ago, I was a little nervous with how he's playing, but duration of his career. Final minutes of a game when we need something big, I trust he's going to do something there. And for some reason, obviously he does well in the prime time, but we go play these East Coast games, 10 a.m. He just seems to be okay. Like, he's just, because of the way he takes care of his body, he's ready. Like, I don't think anything with the time, difference, all that, it doesn't seem to phase him or affect him. He kind of thrives on that. So I think that's why I like our chances here, because I think he can be a steady rock with what now we're getting into the prime time of the playoff season and everything else. He's going to be at his best. Teams are going to be at their best. We'll be okay.
All right. Good stuff, man. Yeah, thanks for the call. We're going to go one more call here, and before we wrap this up, let's hear from one of our staff members on the Discord, Clenifex. Let's see if Clenifex is online. Clenifex, are you there? Oops, hold on a sec. Clenifex, are you on the line? No?
Some great names, though.
Yeah, I know. Oh, he might just be monitoring things. All right. Well, that's all right. I think, we're pretty much kind of down to wrap things up here. This has been an epic show, man. I appreciate all your breakdowns. It's great they've got the telestrator going. I love that upgrade and all the other stuff you're doing.
That's actually a notch below telestrator than the one that I'll be using on the next coach's course. So it's one that we've been using, but I've got a little surprise in store for you that
I like surprises.
I've been working on for the other one. So, Paul, this one's been glitchy since the get-go. So
that's all right. You worked through it. All right. Well, Coach Marsh, again, thank you for taking this time to break things down. I definitely have learned a lot and can't wait to look forward to what we do tomorrow and see how some of this stuff plays out. Any last things you want to say or promote here before we wrap up the show?
Well, you know me, man. I'm about others, so I'm going to promote you. But it's the fact Norb does these things, and he wanted to continue to grow this. Not only his stuff, but he knew that my excitement was doing this. So the fact that you offer me an opportunity to just expand what I'm trying to do and maybe educate a different crowd or a Saturday night crowd or do something fun the night before a game. That's just fun for me. So I appreciate you giving me the time to do that. And like I said on a few shows ago. We're a few days away from, the big holiday that's coming up. So, let's take care of each other. Some good things are happening around the world now. So I think we're putting ourselves in a better position. There's a lot of hope out there. So let's just continue to lift others up, lift other spirits up and enjoy that game tomorrow. Have fun with your family and friends and let's enjoy another W and get after it.
All right. And a quick last minute score update, 21-10, Packers on top, but Carolina in the red zone trying to score here to get this game tight with 10:54 left in the fourth quarter. So let's go Panthers. We'd love to see the Packers go down here and just tighten up that NFC
Hey,
race.
I tell you what, Norb, I've watched a few because, as you know, my favorite non-Seahawk player right now is Aaron Rodgers. I love how the guy played everything else. I mean, I've watched some interviews with him over the last few weeks. The guy is as confident as I've ever seen. I mean, I do not want to face that guy down the road.
Yeah, no, he seems real happy with the situation.
He's a cocky guy.
Yeah,
but he just, man, there's something about him that, like, I could see there being a repeat in the NFC Championship if the game's aligned the right way. So I hope we can avoid them until we absolutely have to play them.
Yeah, do not want to be in
home.
Lambeau. That's not a good history. History doesn't speak well for us playing in Lambeau, but we got to face the game in front of us, and like we just talked about, Washington football team tomorrow. So you guys, I hope you'll join me 10 o'clock Pacific time and 1 o'clock Eastern time. Me and my dad will be doing our reaction thing to this game. Hopefully some fun, excited reactions, and we'll see how this game goes.
I told you about, I'm not going to speak about what is happening in the world, but I think everybody understands that some great news has happened in terms of, hopefully the health of our world.
Yeah.
But I told you a little while ago that if the Seahawks allow one fan to go in to watch a game, I'm going to make the push that it's NorbCam is the one that gets to go in there with the selfie stick and everything else.
Oh, man.
That could be a reality, man. That could be a reality. So I'm telling everybody else out there, if they start saying, hey, we're only going to allow, one person to go in and watch a Seahawks game, let's all get behind Norb and let him be the one that's in there.
Well, let's
producing stuff for us.
Let's get a win tomorrow so we can actually talk about we're in the playoffs. That would be awesome.
Let's do it.
So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Coach's Corner with Bill Marsh, my guest, Bill Marsh. We're going to be doing more of these in the future, not just once a week, but two, maybe even more, depending on how we can work this into the schedule. So I'm excited. It's been great, Coach Marsh, and please continue watching. More stuff, good stuff to come. So we'll talk to you guys later, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.